Good morning, Carolina. Dear, good morning, everyone. Yes, so today is my birthday. Don't mind me. Today is my birthday. Please give me a moment. I think my neighbor is at the door. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Uh, Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Una don't borrow me 1 minute. Don't worry. Una go borrow me past one. Well, thank you. My neighbor just turned up at the door with a flower. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. So today is my birthday. My last year on the fourth floor. So I'm looking forward to the beautiful golden year next year. Yeah, and um, I've just been so. Don't mind me at the ties. It's not too long I woke up. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I need to quickly do this show. It's been there lingering for a while. Oh, thank you, everybody. This particular show has been lingering, and yeah, and I've been wanting to do it. Karadi, thanks, Jerry. I don't miss you. I've not seen you for a while, but anyway, hope you're all having a wonderful, weekend. I'm going to be away for like few hours. Well, I'm going away for a birthday week. Well, for a weekend, no weekend. I'm not traveling. I'm just going away for like few hours, and then back and forward, back and forward. But hey, it is what it is. It's so exciting being on the. I don't even know. I don't know what it looks like being on the fourth floor, but hey, it is what it is. I love. Yes, it's what's it called? It's a wonderful feeling. Can't believe this is my last year on the fourth floor. It feels so real. So well, it feels so good being on the last. Being on the last. Well, the last level on the floor. Last year on the fourth floor. I'm looking forward to what the remaining what the golden year looks like. Let's see what the golden year looks like. They said 50. They said life begins at. They said life begins at 50. So they say. So yeah, let's see what it is. When we get there next year, we'll see what fifth floor look like, and I shall tell you all about it. But my heart is always full. I'm a very reflective. I'm sure you guys would have if you're following me, you would have known that I'm very. What's the name? I should post birthday cake. Don't worry. I will post birthday. Well, I don't know. I don't. To be honest, I don't even know. I don't like. I'm not a birthday. Like, I don't. I don't know. I'm not someone that celebrates. So even next year is making me jittery already. Because I just like my. I'm a very private person when it comes to Yeah, I'm just very private. If you leave me, I won't celebrate anything. If you leave me, it's just I just like my own. I'm that kind of person. Very simple things make me happy. I think that's the best way to say. That's the very best. Like my son's wedding, it was something I couldn't avoid. If you leave me, just few of us together, that makes me. It makes me on top of the world. Oh, I know. I can't wait, Karen Ade. I can't wait till next year. In short, I've got my bucket list. I've got bucket list to achieve. Well, my bucket. Well, I've always wanted to travel. Well, I wanted to travel to specific places. So my bucket list is just beautiful for next year, and I'm not supposed to know what my kids are planning, but somewhere along the line, I kind of, I kind of have a glimpse of it. Yeah, I don't like. I'm not. How will I call it? I'm not someone that likes celebrating. I don't like attention being on me. So I don't like having attention on me. I think I'm just so used to like being like doing stuff, arranging stuff for everybody, but not for me. I'm just that kind of person. And yeah, I just my life is happy clappy. If you leave me my idea of celebration is just being around my loved one. Oh, thank you, Bami. How are you? It's just being around my loved one. I think once I have my loved ones around me, my heart is full. That's just who I am. And naturally, I'm just someone who reflects. So even before the day of my birthday, I think usually every year I just reflect on how far, just reflect on life. I'm just that very very reflective. So I guess on the day of birthday, like I just feel very superficial when people call, "Hey, happy birthday," and I'm like, okay, happy birthday. I get it. I get it that I mean they mean it from a good intention. It's just for me, I don't like who I don't know. Like I don't even know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. So, but hey, it is what it is. But hey, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Da da da. Da. Anyway, now, thanks everybody for the birthday wishes. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you. WDI mean. How are you? So let's yes, the fourth floor has been so beautiful. I'm not going to. The fourth floor has been beautiful. It's come with its ups and downs, but it's been very beautiful, and I don't take that for granted. I don't take every year for granted, really. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. There are a lot of lessons I've learned, and I think above all, yeah, it's just been. I think last year's birthday was a deep reflection for me, and I think because there was a big change in my life, a big change in the sense that my child was getting married, and you know I just thought to myself, I looked back and I was like, wow, I remember having him on my chest as a baby, and it just feels so real. It was just all coming together. So it was very. I'm not someone who shows emotion. Honestly, if you know me, I'm not someone who shows emotion. But last year, I was overwhelmed with emotions, and yes, I was so overwhelmed. My heart was so full. Last year's birthday hits differently because major changes were happening, and it was. My heart was just full. Looking back at how far I've come, and how far I've come, where I'm coming from, where I am, how life has been. Yeah, it was worth all the celebration. I think last year I got the best birthday gift, which was having my daughter in the family formally. Well, formally, is it? Yeah, formally, right? Legally and formally, having her in the family was just brilliant. She was the best birthday present that happened last year for me, and I'm grateful. And yeah, it's just I mean I've known her for a while, but formalizing the whole thing and legalizing it, I gained another child, and obviously her siblings too. I gained her siblings and I gained her parents, So yeah, it was just brilliant, and I'm just so grateful. And this year, yeah, this year is just like any other thing. I guess this year the main thing for me was I've wanted to sell, and want to sell my house. All of that happened. The end of another era. Da, 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 da. It's just worked out well. So it's been brilliant having that. And yeah, new chapter is brilliant. And doing what I love doing. The job, my career is just it's just natural for me. Something I enjoy. And yeah. Anyway, don't let us prolong things. So thanks everybody. I'm grateful for your wishes, and yeah, I'm going away. I'm going away for a few hours, and yeah. So see, I was thinking I could do this later, but I'm not 100% sure if when I'll be back. So yeah. So the topic I want to talk about, today's topic is a very sensitive topic. Very sensitive, but please follow me with this topic. Good morning. I'm greeting everybody as you're greeting me. And most likely, let me see if my neighbor will be good. We'll go catch another salmon. We never know. But anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, today's topic is a very close to heart. Bami, na you sabi o, na you sabi. I no go follow you. I no go even follow you argue. Na you sabi. Now, surrogacy is growing in Nigeria. Now, surrogacy is a growing industry in Nigeria. We've had a lot of celebrities, a lot of ordinary people. Like when I say ordinary, like just general people, who's had they've had. Oh, piano. Oh, thank you. All right. Yeah. So we've had show na they see bank they wish me happy birthday. You see their life, they don't collect all my money finish, they can't do happy birthday. You want to nonsensical nonsense. Anyway, so surrogacy is a growing industry in Nigeria. Now, when we look at surrogacy, it's a big fertility breakthrough and a medical breakthrough for women and for families who are going through fertility journey. Good morning, Shakira. How are you? So they're going through fertility journey, and of course, as Africans, don't let us lie to ourselves. As Africans, fertility is a big deal for us Africans. We all know that when when they get married, the first thing is, as people are when you're getting to that age of marriage, everybody is so focused on you being married. The next thing for the marriage, as you do introduction, you go to hear, hey, wa be better, wa be beji, wa shaking. Everybody go just begin the hype. Even the wedding gift you will receive is about baby product. And the girl, they look at the lady, you have to be they look at you as being fertile. Omori then they will come with shema adupema kiniko, then they will like emi ma be more dandani dan. That kind of hang. They would do all sorts of stuff. The conversation, even counseling for female when they want to get married, the counseling, even for parents, the counseling for their daughters is about pregnancy. You are having sex, and good morning, diaspora diva darling. How are you? They are looking at they're counseling you. Oh, you need to baraduro, Yako Wale once, that kind of thing. So there's always that deep expectation when you're getting married. For the woman, the focus for the female who is getting married, all focus is on childbirth, on being a mom, and they would everything they do, even the wedding gift is centered on a baby. And even when they are praying, in 9 months time we will come and carry our baby, ada, oh, that kind of so there is that, there's a pressure for you to be fertile. There's that pressure, whether spoken or unspoken. There's that pressure for you to be fertile as a female. Now, and again, remember, when the couples get married and children are not being born straight away, or the child is not being born straight, or the woman has not conceived, the focus is on the woman. It's not even necessarily on the man. It's mainly on the woman. What is going on? Why is your wife not? These are things that we're all used to, and these are things that we watch on movies. We hear them. We hear people talk about it. But the core of the matter be saying, there's sometimes that fertility is a big deal. Okay, and the reality of it is sometimes couples get married and they make a decision not to have a baby straight away, not start having their family straight away, like having children straight away. Obviously, because they want to get to know themselves, like da 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 da. Then, in some cases, it might just be a thing of maybe they're trying for a baby, things happened. Okay, maybe the man or the woman, there's something going on, and they are looking to treat it, and it can be very, very sensitive. If that is the case for couples, when they discover fertility problems, that could be a big, big deal. It could be because of health reasons. It could be because of lifestyle. It could be because of so many reasons why fertility has become an issue or become a concern. And of course, initially, let's be honest, couples are not going to struggle with fertility. And the next thing they will call their parents, mommy, daddy, this is what it is. Because they already understand the external pressure. So the next thing they want to do is they want to go to the hospital, they want to meet consultants, they want to, look at what the concerns are, explore the concern, explore their chances, and then, then gradually they go with it. And of course, some of them will speak to their parents, and you can imagine, it's always huge pressure, but in some cases, maybe for whatever reason, the woman is not able to carry the baby, or the man is not able to produce sufficient sperm to to fertilize a egg. So they've got to go through the whole medical process, and sometimes it could just be a thing of, yes, Esther, good morning, sis. So fertility is just a big sensitive topic. However, we also remember, in the midst of doing all of that, we also have the role of religion, where all these religious leaders. I don't know of Muslims because I've never been in their midst to know what they do, but they also have people. For those who are married or newly married, you have people who are womb watchers. They are writing stuff, they are saying stuff. It can be such a huge pressure on the couple. And then you have the religious body, particularly the church. Let me speak, because I was a Christian, so let me speak about the Christian angle. So about the church, is a case of, you are looking for Esther. Ashena Esther, they call her Bina Anna, waiting room. All those rishi ribarabu that they used to do in churches, they could put her for grand. So there's that pressure. Now, for some, thank goodness for medical breakthrough. We now have IVF. IVF has always been there, but of course, initially was very, very expensive. But here, now subsequently, we have IVF, we have surrogacy, and we have different types of surrogacy. Okay? So before we go into different types of surrogacy, imagine carrying a baby for 9 months. Okay, imagine you are carrying a baby for 9 months, right? Now that baby you are carrying, you are the one carrying the baby. Somebody has approached you, maybe a couple has approached you. Please, can you help us? Can we rent your womb? Because that's what it's called. You are renting a womb. It's called womb rental in the sense that the egg and the sperm, the fertilization gets done with your womb. Your womb is being rented, and of course, there is contract to be signed. There's paperwork to be done. And most times, the women who are renting out their womb, in most cases, not all the cases, in most cases, the women who are renting out their womb, they are doing it for financial gain. They are probably maybe from a poor background, or they are in need of money for specific reasons. And so they agree to rent out their womb. And some people do it out of kind gestures. I've seen situation, or I've not seen, but I've heard where some women have said, this is my very good friend, she's struggling with fertility. I'm happy to carry their baby for them. So they've chosen to rent out their womb for their friends, in order to ensure that their friends can carry a baby. Some mothers has also agreed to rent out their womb for their child, for their daughters. Okay, so there are different ways. It doesn't always have to be poor people. It could be family members. It could be any. It depends. But in this particular case, so just think about it. The child does not belong to you. Okay, but you are renting out your womb. Imagine carrying the baby for 9 months. Imagine going through labor pain. Imagine all the vomiting and blah 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 that goes with pregnancy. Imagine the uncomfortable situations and everything, and of course you are willing to do it. You are happy to do it. After carrying the baby, after the 9 months, sometimes 10 months, it depends. Sometimes the baby is born even before term time. That is before the what's it called? The hormonal changes. Thank you, Jerry. So imagine sometimes the baby has to be born prematurely. So imagine doing all those pain, doing all those process, and then once the baby is born, you hand over the baby to the intending parent. So the people who own the egg, and the sperm, are called intending parents. So imagine all those sleepless nights. Imagine all those crazy craving. Just imagine, when people get pregnant, their body changes. They get pregnant, all sort of stuff happens to their body. And after you have been through all that for 9 months, maybe 7 months, whatever months you have done it for, then after all said and done, you now hand over the baby to the intended parents. And some intending parents, they can be the agencies that run all this surrogacy. That's for those who go to agency, because there are different ways. Some decide to go to agency. Those agencies, the moment you give birth to that baby, they take the baby away from you completely. You don't have the connection with the baby. But remember, that baby was carried in your womb. You rented out the womb. Now, the question you might be asking is, was there a contract that was signed? How is this surrogacy? How do you know who would be your surrogate mother? There are agencies in Nigeria who advertise surrogacy. This also happens in India, because I remember writing about womb rental, but I wrote it from the angle of social stratification, where the social power imbalance exists. Because there was a time India was a fertility, the business fertility hub. There was a time that India was, I think that was back in 2009, 10, 11, 12. In short, there was documentary about that. There was a lot of documentary about that here in the UK, because we had such a big scandal with people going to India to go get babies, for surrogacy and stuff. So at the time, anyway, I did a research. I wrote a paper on it. When I was in India, I got a grant. So I was in India for, I think it was 6 months. I can't remember whether it was 5 or 6 months. I can't remember now. I think that was 2012. 2013. Yeah, that was it. So I remember going to India. I got a grant, and yeah, I was able to go and write about it. To go, go and see what I did. I went to see what was going on there, and it was very interesting. Interesting in a good and a bad way. The way the hospitals were built, particularly the surrogacy industry. They built the surrogacy. The hospitals were built like supermarkets. It was crazy. Going there, and the intending parents, they flew in from Australia, United Kingdom, da 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 da. They were flying in doing stuff. But I think for me, what got me so hooked into the whole process, away from even being for the documentaries that were done on it, was the fact that for you to access the surrogacy market in India, I call it market because that was what it was. For you to access surrogacy market in India, it was more like a dating website slash dating website with a twist of Amazon. Okay, that was what it was like, and I'll tell you why. So they have so when you are trying to hide, get into the yeah, I think so. I know. I think I remember doing it in 2013. I think it was 2013. I remember because I remember I was away for 6 months. No, was it 2000? Yeah, 2013. That's right. I was away for 6 months. I got a grant and a research grant, and I was able to go. Anyway, so what you find out, I think I remember what got my interest, because we're quite keen to see. It was a big scandal in the social service. Like people were coming with kids, and they were trying to come in with kids because the children had to be adopted to come into the UK. They had to be adopted by the intending parents for those children to come into the UK. And of course, their birth certificate was not like the normal birth certificate. So there was quite a lot, because it's not just about going abroad for surrogacy. It was also the process of the child is not a British child. It doesn't matter whether the parents were British, whether the intending parents are British. By law in the United Kingdom, the surrogate mother in the United Kingdom law, the surrogate mother is the birth mother of the child, of the child, and for that, for the intending parents to become, for them to get right and responsibility, they need to go through the full process of permanence. Where they are asking for parental right and responsibility, and it is solely down. They are at the mercy of the surrogate mother. And we did have cases in, I think there were cases in the UK here where I think we had friends, and I think there was a mom. I can't remember on top of my head now, but I remember there was a case. I think there was a case of mom, and there was also a case of friends, where the mother of the lady, of the intending mother, was the one that was a surrogate mother. Her womb was the one that was rented, and then she had the baby, and then she got attached to the baby, and she would not let go of the baby. She refused to relinquish. Well, she refused legally to give the right and responsibility, parental right and responsibility, to her daughter. And we also had cases of friends who rented their womb to their friends. And when the baby was born, they didn't want to part with the baby. Okay, legally they didn't want to part with the baby. So there were a lot of cases there. And for the UK, that was a big, in the UK, let me just clarify, surrogacy in the UK, you don't pay a surrogate mother. It's against the law to pay a surrogate mother in the UK. You can give money towards allowance, like clothing allowance, like feeding and stuff like that, but you do not pay. It is actually a criminal offense to pay a surrogate mother in the UK. And you must, no, in the UK, you don't do contracts. It's against the law to do that. So for you to do surrogacy in the UK, you will have to go through the law. You have to go through the, what's it called? You have to go through your lawyers. But remember, the surrogacy system in the UK is cut up in three ways. Let me clarify that. The surrogacy system is cut up in three ways. Remember, the surrogacy law in the UK is tied into family law. So there's a family angle of it, there's a criminal angle, there's a criminal law angle of surrogacy. Okay, so when you want to go through so if you're intending to if you're intending to seek surrogacy, you need to speak to the legal system. Sorry, you need to go and seek legal advice. And when I say legal advice, trust me, you need to seek serious legal advice. Make sure you are legally guided, because you have a very thin line to become a criminal. Okay, because the surrogacy law in the UK is in between. Well, there's the family law plays a huge role, and at the same time, the criminal law is also there, because they also need to interview. And for someone to want to be your if someone is agreeing to be a surrogate mom, you need to go through therapy. That person must definitely go through the mental health assessment. Okay, so it's very complicated. The surrogacy system in the UK is very, very complicated, and at some point, social service steps into the scene. So basically, exactly, meaning no content to a motor show, no law. So the surrogacy system in the UK is extremely complicated. It's just like adoption in the UK. If you're adopting within the UK, it's a different ball game. But when you are adopting from outside the UK to the UK, you need to get yourself fully equipped with the legal system. Otherwise, you could be done for child trafficking, you could be done for modern day slavery, you could be done for exploitation. It's very easy. So surrogacy in the UK is very, very complex. I can tell you that for free. Very, very complex. And if the surrogate mother is outside the United Kingdom, there's also the angle of immigration law there. Okay, so it's not as simple as hey, somebody carry my PK. You need to know what the law says. In short, there's somebody I know that is wanting to go through the surrogacy process. Okay, that wants to go to the surrogacy process, and I tell you for free, that person, they've been on it now for the last, here in the UK, the surrogacy and everything is happening here in the UK, but they've been on it now for the last, I think, since 2022. They've been going back and forward, with the legal system on that, because there's quite a lot. You need to equip yourself legally, because remember, it is okay, the person can turn around, the womb, the person who's renting out the womb can say, you know what, I don't mind, you can rent my womb, and they're saying that legally. But at some point, minds could be changed. And remember, in the United Kingdom, you, the intended parent, you are the most vulnerable, because by law, the surrogate mother in the United Kingdom, that's the UK law that I'm talking about now. In United Kingdom, the surrogate mother is the legal parent. The surrogate mother holds the parental right and responsibility. Like in Scotland, we have the promise. We have the Children and the Scotland's Children's Act 1995, and then we have the Child and Young Persons Scotland Act 2014, amended in 2018, and then we also have the Mental Health Acts law. So there's quite a lot enshrined in it. And then, of course, we also have the modern day slavery law. So all of these things, that we also have Equality Act. So you can see that it's not just about you wanting a baby. There are legal systems around it. It's just like same-sex couple when they decide to have a child. Now, if it's the woman if it's a woman, if it's same-sex female, they obviously have their, what's the name? It's not just about having the egg. They also need the sperm to fertilize the egg. Okay, so they go through a legal process. It's not as simple for you, man and woman, where they just fucking on themselves for one bump picking. All those ones na story for the good. But when you now get to that complications, where you are needing someone to carry your baby, or where you need to do IVF, there's so many. It's not just a set stone. It's quite complex, and very easily that thing that brings joy can be that you can be looking at prison close to it. Okay, and it's not just a case of maybe just ordinary prison. You don't know what you're going to be done for. So it's very, even the legal teams here in the UK, they are always very, very careful, especially when it comes to fertility. They're extremely careful because the UK system is highly regulated. Okay, it's not to say it doesn't happen. It's not for the faint-hearted. You need to equip yourself. You understand? Because the surrogate mother could agree to carry the baby in the UK here, could agree to carry the baby, and then there's an emotional attachment. And the surrogate mother can choose, even if the egg has been inseminated and everything, she can choose to want to go through abortion. And you, the intending parent, you don't have that control. Okay? Or it could be a case that she's got emotional breakdown, or she's emotionally attached to the baby. It's not as simple. Let's just put it that way. So please, if you want to do surrogacy, if you are considering surrogacy within the soil, of course you can do surrogacy outside the soil of the United Kingdom, but they won't accept it if you are coming from, if there's a surrogate child that has been born in Africa. Most African countries, they don't accept it anymore, because the legal system in the African countries are quite complicated. It's quite draining doing surrogacy or abortion or even IVF. But don't get me wrong, there are still some people that still covertly go to do IVF in Africa. I don't know how. And one thing they don't understand is when they then get caught up in the legal system, they now start speaking grammar. You now hear, it's because I'm black. Know the law. Don't do backyard. Don't go and meet an immigration lawyer for surrogacy. When you want to do surrogacy, your first point of contact is a family lawyer, because there are different sections of the family law that you need to equip yourself with at every step by step of surrogacy process. Okay? So that's your first point of contact is a family lawyer. And I will advise you, don't go and meet under the mango tree family lawyer. Okay? Go and meet family lawyers who are experienced, because it's not all family lawyers who have the experience of surrogacy or fertility treatments. Okay? So it's very important that you read reviews of the legal practitioners that you are going to meet, or the legal firm, whatever they're called. You read their laws. Also, you can also, for your own understanding, you can reach out to social service, because at some point in your process of surrogacy, you will have to engage with them. So you can reach out to them. They have drop-in centers that you can reach out just to understand how it works. And when you're looking at surrogacy, if you're looking to get information around surrogacy in the United Kingdom, the best department to reach out to in social service is what some people call them family placement department. Some people call them the fostering and adoption department, and some people call them the family team. So just your local authority, if you're within the soil of United Kingdom, I don't know of other places within the soil of United Kingdom, the social work team that you want to reach out to is the team that deals with fostering adoption. That's a team that is your best bet. That's the people that you want to reach out to. Okay. And also we have specialist midwives who, when you are considering, because remember, also the surrogate mother in the United Kingdom, again I'm referring to United Kingdom, the surrogate mother in United Kingdom, she can decide whether the intending parents will be their birth partners or not. Remember, the surrogate mother on the soil of United Kingdom is solely recognized as a birth mother of that child. So when it comes to child benefit, when it comes to health history of the child and everything, the surrogate mother is the person that the system recognizes. And that's the person that holds the parental right and responsibility from the day of conception of that baby. The babies, whatever it is, that surrogate mother holds that full parental right and responsibility. Okay? Okay, and another thing in the UK is, in the United Kingdom, we don't do anonymous surrogacy. Anonymous surrogacy is not allowed on the soil of United Kingdom. Is not legal. It's not that it's not allowed, it's not legal on the soil of United Kingdom. The identity of the surrogate mother must be known from day one. You don't do anonymous. And there's a reason why I'm highlighting all of this, okay? Because there are a lot of things that they do, and these are the things that brings about complications when we are doing cross-border assessment for surrogate parents. Because, for instance, like in Nigeria, they have the anonymous process of surrogacy. You can be an intending parent, and the surrogate mother does not have any business. The surrogate mother has no business knowing who you are. They won't even know your identity. And I think this lady, what's her name? I think Nancy Umeh. Is it Nancy Umeh? Cora Obidi's younger, is it younger or older sister? I can't remember whether she's older or younger. But Cora Obidi's sister, I think I remember her saying she did anonymous, what's it called? Surrogacy. And yes, I celebrate with her success of surrogacy, but I guess the fact that for me, the moment she said anonymous, that made it cringy for me, because the whole idea behind anonymous, why is it anonymous? What did they have to hide? Was the legal contract, was it a fair deal? Did the lady in question, did she know what she was going into? Mercy, hold on to your question. I will answer your question. So, what did they call it? When the moment she said anonymous, the first thing I asked myself was, the contract for the surrogacy, was the lady recruited properly? Because I know that's another thing that we had in India. That was one of the things that made it tricky with the Indian fertility clinic, fertility business industry, where there were things that were done. In short, they were inseminating eggs into the surrogate mothers, and some mothers. I mean, these are things that you can Google. It's all online. There are even situations where the surrogate mother has a baby, and the intended parents are like, oh, they will abandon the baby because they're like, the baby is too black. The skin color of the baby is darker than the skin color of the surrogate of the intended parent. There are all sorts of stuff. Some has even ended up having babies that, they've had a form of disability or genetic concern, and the intending parents walk away. And these women are left in the sun the surrogate mothers are left in the sun to dry. So surrogacy, as beautiful as it is on paper, it can be very, very complicated. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to every stage. And if you live abroad, if you live in the Western country, I don't know, I'm not too sure. I know in American system, you can pay surrogate mother just like what they do here, what they do in Nigeria. Sorry, surrogate mothers are commercialized in America. Even egg donors are commercialized in America. In the UK, for you to donate your egg or for you to sell your egg, it's not just as simple as walking in and saying, I want to sell my egg. There is a whole lot that goes on with it. And when I say a whole lot, there's a legal angle of it. Whatever you want, whatever choice you want to make when it comes to fertility treatment, if there's any lesson you need, if there's anything you need to hold at the back of your head, is understand the legal process, so that you don't get yourself caught up in what you don't know. Because it's very, very easy to pick up a criminal conviction. It's very, very easy to rie. Blood donation is totally different. I'm talking of egg donation. I'm not talking of blood donation. Blood donor is completely different. So like in Nigeria, like I said, I remember when Nancy was talking about the fact that, the surrogate mother was anonymous, and I was like, ha. But hey, people were clapping because I guess, what you don't know, you agree to it, okay? Dorcas, hold on now. So, as I was saying, the whole thing around anonymous, like in Nigeria, there is no formal contract around, there's no formal legislation around surrogacy in the Nigerian context. Instead, the surrogacy in Nigeria is purely drafted on contracts. It's all about contracts. And the contract, it appears that the intending parents are the ones with the upper hand, because they can chop and change the contract as at when it suits them. And this is where it becomes tricky. So let me show you a video of a lawyer who, there's a lady who, I came across a video of a lady who explains the legal process of surrogacy. So we'll take it, please. This show I will take my time, so just calm down, because I want people to learn from this. Oh, okay.
So yesterday's video made me understand that a lot of Nigerians are unaware of what surrogacy as a concept entails. Now, what is surrogacy? Surrogacy simply means the legal and medical arrangement by which a person known as the surrogate mother agrees to carry a child in her womb for an intending parent, right? Surrogacy is of two categories. Number one, the traditional surrogacy and the gestational surrogacy. Traditional surrogacy, the surrogate mother is the biological mother because in this case, it is her eggs. Now, gestational surrogacy, the surrogate mother has no biological link with this child. In my comment section yesterday, I kept saying it's her body, her choice, her body, her choice, her money. If you understand what surrogacy entails, you will not make that kind of comment. For people that made that comment, it clearly shows that you do not understand what surrogacy is entirely about. Surrogacy arrangement is not like abortion where you would say, oh, my body, my choice. Funny enough, in Nigeria, abortion as it were said, it is not even my body, my choice. Talk more of surrogacy. Now, in surrogacy arrangement, we have about 4 parties. The first person, the surrogate mother, which is the carrier, the biological mother, if it's a gestational surrogacy. Furthermore, the sperm of the father or the sperm from a sperm bank. Finally, medical/state law. Right? These 4 parties are involved in surrogacy arrangement and agreement, and it is not my body, my choice. Are you also aware that at the birth of the child, the surrogate mother is the legal mother of that child? Do you understand? Till the necessary paperwork has been done. So you need to be very, very careful when you say this is my body, my choice, because you can have all the money in the world, and if you make a mistake and you try to claim a child that is biologically yours, you will meet a deadlock. Do you get the point there? I am saying this with all confidence because I have prepared surrogacy agreements for some people, and trust me, it is not an agreement you would say it is my body, my choice. No. Because the right of the surrogate mother must be stated, your right as a biological parent must be stated. You must draft the surrogacy agreement in accordance with what the law is saying. The surrogacy agreement must reflect medical ethics. So it is beyond saying, my body, my choice. Because at this point, it's no longer your body. Yes, the eggs might be a product of your body, but at this point, the surrogate mother, it is her body. And you will not use a person's body as a chattel. For people that said, the way you outsource your security man is the same way you outsource surrogacy. I don't know. Sometimes I see some comments online and I find them very, very disturbing. A human life is what you are equating to the service you can pay your domestic staff. I think your humanity should be questioned. I saw an interview where Chimamanda made regarding surrogacy, and it was very, very intelligent. She said surrogacy can be abused, and that is the truth. She said the way people go about surrogacy can amount to abuse. So the problem is not that surrogacy is bad, but the message we are trying to push, the narrative we are trying to push. Imagine somebody saying that a woman birthing a child is dancing to patriarchal tunes. I don't know what to say anymore at this point. Surrogacy is a beautiful journey, and I really thank God that it has come to stay. And I really hope that our lawmakers, as soon as possible, draft laws regulating surrogacy in Nigeria, because we really need it at this point.
Okay, so you can get it. So there are so many things. This lady is apparently a celebrity lawyer. So she's more like a Dr. Adefunke. You know that doctor that boasted that was highlighting the flaws in Mrs. Blessing CEO's cancer, blah blah blah. Anyway, there are so many angles, just like what I've said. There are so many angles to surrogacy. And you see, in Nigeria, we have come with this wahala. Anytime anything comes to Nigeria, the way with the open eye, they tear things. So you remember she said surrogacy, there is a gestational surrogacy, there is a traditional surrogacy. A mother can actually be a surrogate mother to a child. There's no doubt about that. Me, I don't know. I don't even know anything with that Blessing CEO. That girl just did do what she like. I don't even know the one with the warrior now. Anyway, so you can see that the surrogate mother, she's not just as simple as a womb rental. She has that legal parental right and responsibility. And that also made me question, when Nancy Ume, when she said the surrogate mother was anonymous. Now, if surrogate mother is anonymous, how fair then is a contract that was signed with the surrogate mother? Because let's be honest, which mother, whether birth mother or the birth mother, which birth mother will want to stay anonymous in the life of a child? Like in the UK, for instance, the adoption system in the United Kingdom, the birth parents they go through the full process, and until the parental right and responsibility is fully taken away or fully relinquished, not taken away, fully relinquished from the birth mother and the birth father, the adoption cannot be said to be successful. Okay, the birth parents have every legal right to challenge the process, the entire process. So you can see. So take a step back again to what I was saying about Nasi Ume, when she said that the surrogate mother was a name, that she's anonymous, and that even makes it more questionable, because if the surrogate mother is anonymous, then that speaks volume. So how did she give up? How did she legally give a parental right and responsibility? Give up a parental right and responsibility? Was she aware that she was going into surrogacy? Was she aware of the intended parent? Because she should have that interaction with the intending parents, and that's where the UK system is quite different, where the intending parent and the surrogate mother, they must have interaction. Now we have a lot of no, adoption is not anonymous. But I mean, that is not correct. Adoption is not anonymous in United Kingdom. Please don't let us give wrong information. Adoption is not anonymous. At the adoption process, the adopted parents are fully, in short, as a matter of fact, before adoption can even go ahead, the birth parents meet the adopted parents, meet the intending adopted parents. On the soil of United Kingdom, I don't know what part of United Kingdom you are talking about. In the entire United Kingdom, adoption is not anonymous. I can tell you that for free. Thank you, Gary. Adoption is not unanimous at all on the soil of United Kingdom. Even egg donation on the soil of United Kingdom. If you donate egg, the child and the what's the name? The woman who is wanting to get the egg, she has a right legally to request the identity of the egg donor. Please, let's get things, let's put things in the right, let's get things right. Because there are a lot of people who might want to do things like this, and they don't understand and they just assume. Okay, organ donation can be done anonymously. There's a reason why that is done. But sometimes, don't also forget, it can be done anonymously, but the person who is receiving the organ might legally ask to know the identity of the person that has donated the organ. They have the right to do that. So I can tell you that for free. Yes, it can, at the point of donation, it can be made anonymously. But legally, the person who is receiving the organ can request to know the identity. And we have seen cases. I mean, there are a lot of situations where we've seen openly. No. It is not. What in the case of child abuse, it is not anonymous, please. No. Please, adoption on the soil of United Kingdom has never been anonymous. It is not, and I can tell you it can never be. Adoption has never been anonymous. Even fostering is not anonymous. There are also, obviously, there are laws that guides the fostering parents, the foster carers rather, whereby, by law, because most foster carers are employed through local authorities or private fostering organizations. But the birth parents, I mean, there could be non-disclosure of the address of the foster parents or the foster carer. But for non-disclosure to happen, there must be evidence of significant risk of harm. It is not something, this is my bread and butter. It is not something that happens suddenly. You don't just wake up one morning and say, oh, I don't want the birth parents to know, I don't want them to know the address of their foster parents. No. The local authority or the or the fostering organization must evidence, not even prove, you must evidence the significant risk of harm around that. And it can be all challenged in the court of law. What did you say? Apropos, is there a change in law? Because that is the case in the old when those with kids on wedlock. We are talking of ages ago now, for crying out loud, Bami. A lot of things has changed. No. Please. No, that's not true. That's not true. Anonymous, what's the name? Adoption is not confidential. No. No, it's not. It's not. Please don't let us share wrong information. It is not confidential. The birth parents are fully aware of the adopted parent. As a matter of fact, the birth parents have to meet the intending adopted parents. So I don't know where you guys are getting all these stories from. Please don't let us mislead people. Please don't let us mislead people. Adoption is not anonymous. If you don't know, say you don't know. Please don't let us mislead people. The birth parents of a child are the ones, they actually meet the adopted parents. That's why we have memory box. That's why we have the letters to the dear child. This is my bread and butter. Please, please. In the old, Bami, the case you are referring to, you can see that what's the name? You can see, like, Bami, the case you are referring to, I'm sure you have paid that. If what I think you're talking about is what you're saying, where back in the days, the government forced adoption and the parents, because the children were born out of wedlock. Now, if you also follow those cases, because I think there's documentary on them on BBC, I think, I'm not 100% sure, you will see that those children are now suing the government and they are wanting compensation. But we are talking of back in the days. We're not talking of now. A lot has changed. Yes, once the child is fully adopted, the adopted parents can choose to change the name of the child because they get the adoption certificates. They can choose to change the name of the child. They can also choose to have their address anonymous. However, that child in the clause of adoption process, there's a clause for contact with birth parents. It could be letterbox contact. It could be what's it called? It could be physical contact. Okay, and as a matter of fact, through the child psychologist research, a lot of it is clearly, yeah, there could be reasons why the birth parents were not able to give their were not able to care for their child, but there's always a link, and that's why we have the life story. These are very important part of adoption in the UK. Please, I'm not arguing. Make una leave me, abeg. I don't know why you guys are arguing what is real. This is something I do as my bread and butter. You have in children have we have I mean, there are a lot of cases where even a child has been adopted, and over time they ask for their birth parents. You still need the medical record of that birth parent. Adoption is not, this is not Nigeria, where anybody can just do what they are doing. Go and ask anybody. Go to adoption office. Yes, the birth parents have to meet the adopted parents. In what part of the UK is adoption not allowed? The birth parents have to meet. Yes, they might not be able to keep their child, but the birth parents meet the adopted parents before the whole adoption goes through. And even after the adoption, when adoption is going through, all of these things are legal process. All of the birth why Millie, you said you were adopted. Okay, so the birth parents meet the adopted parents. And don't forget, an adoption cannot be done anonymously, because the birth parents are fully part of the legal process. You're asking Google, where is Google? Is Google the one that does the assessment? Oh, you never met your birth parents. You never met your birth parent. Well, I don't know. I don't know why. Well, I mean, it's up to, I don't know why. Because like birth parents, they have the contact because they have a right to contact. The father, their parental right and responsibility. Remember, that child has what they call what's it called? That child has a right to contact. And in short, there's even a case in one of the local authority here in Scotland where the child was adopted. I think the child was less than 3 years old when the child was adopted. It's even a recent case where the child was adopted. Okay. Where the child was adopted, and now the child is asking to have contact with the birth parents. And these informations, they're all there. In short, as a matter of fact, the social work department, the adoption department in social work, they keep record, because at any stage, the child can ask to meet their birth parents. Kai, you guys, please don't change what I'm talking about. Exactly. Thank you, Jare. But we do, you see, this is why Millie is saying it. But we do have access if we wanted to. How can you be saying adoption is anonymous? In what part of United Kingdom soil? Adoption is not anonymous. Yes, in England, when you are 18, you can do that. In Scotland, at the age of 16, you can choose. But it's entirely a choice. Exactly. Why, Millie? Thanks a lot for that. Sometimes the children decide they don't want to meet their birth parents. And even permanent orders. Sometimes the children decide they don't want to have contact with their birth parents. So it's not I can tell you for free, adoption is not anonymous on the soil of United Kingdom. It used to be. And when I say it used to be, I'm talking of maybe in the 70s. And the government are being roasted. They are all being roasted for it. Why do they have amendment of laws and stuff? Adoption has not been anonymous since late 90s. Adoption has not been anonymous. And even those whose accused children were removed because their parents were single parent, now they are taking the government to court. There's a big scandal with the UK government where they are just like the, what do they call it now, the slave trade, whatever that people are talking about. That's the same thing too with people who were adopted back in the 70s, from the 70s, 70s, 60s, because that was when they had the poor houses. These are things that you can read. The informations are all there, out there. You can read about them. Anyway, so as I was saying, so please let us, yeah, and you can ask for free. There's Freedom of Information Act. In short, I will tell you for free, every child that is adopted on the soil of United Kingdom, they have access to their files. And of course, that has brought about a big change of how cases are being recorded and how documents are being on how cases are being recorded. And there's a big revamp on how we record cases, on how we identify cases. Okay? So please, don't let us mislead ourselves. I'm not saying ask Google. It's not everything that Google tells you. I can tell you for free. I'm a social worker and I can tell you for free. I've worked in children and family. I can tell you for free. Adoption is not anonymous. I don't know where you guys are getting all those anonymous story. When adoption is not anonymous. And I'm telling you that for free. I'm telling you that as a fact. It is not anonymous. Of course, I'm not going to list the names of adopted parents. If you understand how adoption works, trust me, you will know that adoption is not anonymous. I don't think if you understand how adopted parents are picked, intending adopted parents are picked, you will know for a fact that adoption is not anonymous. The birth parents are fully involved in it. Up until that child, up until the final day where the court gives exactly why Millie. I mean, this is why Millie, who was adopted here in the UK. She's saying, he or she is saying it here. And you guys keep arguing adoption is anonymous. How is it anonymous? Yes, the information is anonymous to the public because it's a child that has been adopted. But every information that child and the birth parents need is accessible to them. Even the adopted parents, it is also in their best interest that they have detailed, if you know the kind of detailed information adopted parents have when it comes to adoption, is a very rigorous screening system. And the fact that you are requesting to or that you are nominated to adopt does not necessarily mean that you will get to the adoption system. Yeah, we have, in short, there are different, in short, adoption is another topic entirely. And there's a lot of misconception with our people. There's a lot of misconception. And this is why our people get into trouble because, there's that thing of, oh, this is how it works. This is how we know it works. I have done this. No. If you go through the legal system, like adoption, every child on the soil of United Kingdom that is adopted has a right to access information of their birth parents. But of course, remember, adoption is not just something that suddenly happens suddenly like that. Some of the cases where children were being adopted, there were concerns. And for the children who have gone through adoption or long-term fostering system, you can imagine that sometimes they feel re-traumatized. They feel re-traumatized because they are reading about, they are reading in-depth reasons, because you must remember adoption is a very, very stringent legal process. In short, sometimes adoption could take the entire adoption process sometimes can take up to 3-4 years. The shortest legal system of adoption is 2 years. Because it is not as simple as I want to adopt. This child is going to be the birth parents can contest it at any stage, and the law allows them to contest it. And the adopted parents, They are usually in touch because there's agencies that work with them. Remember, these children were removed for a reason. Even a baby, the trauma can resurface at any stage. Please don't let us change the topic. So anyway, so that is that. So what I'm saying is, I think what brought us to this is when we're talking about surrogacy and they're talking about anonymous process of surrogacy. Now, when surrogacy is anonymous, it's very, very, it's for me, it's very, very concerning because it shows that there's no fairness in the legal process of it, because who then is being exploited? That's a question. Because if the surrogate mother is anonymous, so what was she told at the point of insemination? That's the point where they were inseminating the egg and the sperm into her. What was she being told? Did she have proper legal representation? Was there clarity to her role? Was there clarity to her legal right and responsibility? You know, and that's where, and this is what has brought, and this is where concerns have brought, this is where there's been concerns, where if things are not done, if they are done anonymously, what is the process of anonymously? So these are questions. Now, having said that, let us explore, like in Nigeria, like the lady has said, the lawyer said, in Nigeria, there is no legislation guiding surrogacy. Like in the UK, we have clear laws around surrogacy. If you want to be a surrogate mother, there is clear guidance around it. There's clear guidance around surrogacy in the UK. You can't just wake up one morning and say, I just want to do it. There's a process around it. It's just like fostering. If you want to be a foster carer, I'm sure a lot of you would have seen a lot of local authorities and private agencies fostering private agencies they're advertising for foster carers. And to some people, you say, I'm going to make money being a foster carer. Hello, it's not as simple as that. There are things that you need to be able to do, that you need to be able to, and if you are going to be a foster carer, you must be open to serious scrutiny. Your life is daily being scrutinized. Yourself, your families, everybody around you are mainly. They are mainly being scrutinized. Okay? Now, let us continue. So, like the lady explained, there are 4 stages, there are 4 people, there are 4 characters in surrogacy. You have the surrogate mother, which is a rented womb. You have the intending parents. You have the legal process. Okay, you have the medical process, and then you also have the legal angle of surrogacy. So the contract you are signing and agreeing to, the contract is being drafted, signed, and the contract is being drafted, agreed, and signed must meet all medical ethics, and it must uphold fundamental human rights. Now, the question is, if the surrogate mother is anonymous, there's questions around, did the contract actually meet the fundamental human right? Does it uphold the fundamental human right of the surrogate mother? That's a question. Remember, they are saying, I remember Nancy saying it was anonymous. Okay? So that raises questions. Now, the surrogacy process, does it meet medical ethics? Again, if the surrogate mother is anonymous, how is she reassured that the that the entire process is going to meet medical ethics? Does she have legal team to help her check that? Because there are cases whereby eggs are being inseminated, and the egg being inseminated does not necessarily mean that she gets pregnant. It could be inseminated several times. How many times do they need to do the inseminations? Is it a one-off thing? Is it after 2 times? Is it after 3 times? Remember, all of these, there is medical downtone to the health of the mother, of the surrogate mother. It's just like IVF. I know people promote IVF in Nigeria. Come to Nigeria. IVF rate is 100%, blah, blah, blah. But the question is, like in the UK, you can only do IVF. I can't remember how many times you can do IVF. I can't remember on top of my head now. But you can only do IVF for a certain amount of time. Okay, you can't just keep doing it continuously. I've heard people I've heard I think it was Lady Bidin Igodalo who had mentioned that she did IVF 11 times, and I was like, whoa, 11 times. In the UK, in the UK, I definitely know that she will not be allowed to do it up to 11 times. I know that for a fact. There must be medical. 2 or 3. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's not. I know they don't give so many chances to it, because at the end of the day, remember, for everything comes claims and compensation. It's just like all these people it's just like people who are pregnant that uses epidural. Epidural has a medical strain on the body. And we've had people who has used epidural. I'm not saying all, but there are people who have taken epidural, and in long term, they've had the impact of epidural has come back at maybe when they are old age or whatever it is. You understand? I know someone who used epidural, and she has very severe back pain. Okay, and so many other things. You know that for everything there's always a side effect. Let's be open and honest about this. Okay, so did I get you wrong? I don't know. Sorry if I'm getting you wrong. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm not. I mean, comments come very fast, so I'm sorry if I'm getting you wrong. So like I said, why million? Now you are talking. We will get there. So it's not just as simple. There's a lot of complications to surrogacy. In short, fertility, there is as beautiful as it is. There are so many things to it. Even adoption. We've had kids who have been adopted who've actually sued local authority. They sued the local authority for gaps that they feel has not been done properly. You know, there are a lot of, whatever you are doing, you always have to remember that that whatever any process you are getting into, it can be legally challenged, and it can be legally challenged at any stage. Okay. So like I said, so the question is, if the surrogate mother is anonymous, then there's questions. Did she have a fair deal? Did she have a fair deal? Because I will never forget that interview I watched on late Ibidun Godalo, where she said she had IVF 11 times, and I'm like, what? IVF 11 times? As in, where is the medical ethics around that? Who consented to that? Did you consent to it? Did they tell you the implications? Because as beautiful as IVF is, everything has implications. It has medical implications. You know? So please let us Bami, thank you. According to the NICE guideline in the UK, ladies under 40 are only allowed 3 cycles of IVF. Between 40 to 42 is only allowed 1. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot for that, Bami. So like I was saying, so in this case, like in Nigeria, with the open eye differently. The next thing we hear, it is my body. It is my body, it is my choice. It is kinikam. But the question is, how do you get to that stage? Because sometimes, as Nigerians or Africans, we argue blindly. We don't necessarily pay attention to the legal process. We argue blindly. Let me play this audio for us to hear. I'm sure you saw the audio that time. It was this lady, what's her name? Ife Ife Agoro, I think that's her name. She got married and she was okay. Anyway, let us listen to what she was saying.
You want to have children in future, please freeze your eggs and every.
Okay, hold on.
No woman should attempt surrogacy except she no longer has a womb or for some reason she's unable to have children. Lies! Quick backstory. The other day I did a post and said if you're over 30, you're single, and you want to have children in future, please freeze your eggs and every other thing I said. Internet people came for me. They said, Ife, people are poor. There's poverty in the land. Not many people can afford it. Even after I had said this thing is expensive. Okay, listen. I'm about to trigger the internet people again. If you're a woman, you have no fertility complications, you can carry a child to term, and you decide by yourself that you don't want to do that and you want to use a surrogate instead, your decisions are valid. You don't owe anybody any medical report, apology, or an explanation. Let's make the story personal here. I have a womb, I don't have any fertility complications, I'm perfectly healthy, but I'm still going to use a surrogate. I know many people are genuinely curious. Anytime I say this, they will always ask, Ife, why don't you want to carry a baby? You know, you can carry a baby, you're healthy. I'm not going to tell you. I just don't want to use it. I don't want to use my womb, okay? You don't owe anybody any explanation. People expect that people who use surrogate or want to use a surrogate must have a tragedy story. It's not true. I don't have a tragedy story. Not everyone does. I figured out what offends people is the autonomy that a woman dares say, I choose not to go through childbirth and pregnancy. The audacity. It shakes the table that society has taught women to kneel beside. That if you don't bleed for it, you don't deserve it. That if you don't go through the pain of childbirth, the joy of motherhood is invalid. If you've believed this all your life, put your hand on your head and say, I'm unlearning this. I'm unlearning this. Thank you very much. Should women carry their babies if they really want to? Yes. Should women use a surrogate if that's what they really want? Also, yes. I know many of you will come at me with, if I read the room, even surrogacy is expensive. I'm reading the room, guys. The women around me can actually afford it. And the women who can't would do it if they could afford it. I pray that when it's time, that you have the means to do this, if that's what you really want. But let's be honest.
Now, you can see, this is Ife Agoro, I think. I think that's her name. Ife Agoro. You see, in Nigeria, unfortunately, everything is all about content. Okay? Now, I can tell you for free, in the United Kingdom, if she's opting for surrogacy because she doesn't want to use a womb, I can tell you for free, there will be questions around her mental health. And there will also be questions around a choice of surrogacy. Now, there are people, so fertility, like I always say, is not something as simple. It's not about is my body my autonomy. No. Somebody said, I think Bami shared information about how many times you can get IVF in the UK, and Chinwe, I think Chinwe said in the limit in NHS is primarily due to funding. No, it is not. Chinwe, please, let's educate ourselves. It's not down to funding alone. There's medical reasons. Look, in the Western, I'm not saying the UK is a perfect system, but medical ethics has to be followed. For everything you do, even ordinary surgery, there is claims around it. You need to guide yourself legally. And organizations, local authority, government, they guide themselves legally. Okay? IVF, there's a reason why IVF is only being capped at a certain amount. Even cosmetic surgery, there's a reason why you can only do a certain amount of cosmetic surgery. Because when things go south, you come back and come and claim. Now let's come to Ife Agoro. Now this is somebody who is based in the US, who is forming woke. Okay? Now, she might have her reasons. Like some people chose to have, they don't want to carry the baby. They don't want to go through, what they call it. They don't want to go through, they don't want their body to be deformed. Like someone like Beckham, what's her name now? Victoria Posh, right? That's Beckham's wife. She chose to have cesarean birth, right? and she went through the cesarean birth process. Her rationale in her interview subsequently was she didn't want to have vaginal birth. She didn't want to have vaginal birth because that would impact on her sex life. Okay, now don't always forget, things change as claims are being made, as concerns are being raised. Definitely the legal system, they put laws in place so that people don't abuse the system. I'm not saying it makes the system a perfect system. That's not what I'm saying. The UK health system is far from being perfect. I can tell you that for free. It's far from being perfect. Okay? But, Chinwe, I hear you. You said you had your daughter through IVF and you had to go private because funding stops at 40. Now, even though you went private, I can tell you for free, the private you went to is still part of NHS. Yes, the NHS, the main NHS system, the public angle of it might cap funding at a certain amount, but I can tell you for free that private will not continually do IVF for you over the advised medical ethics angle of IVF. I can tell you that for free. The private healthcare is part of NHS. It is not separate from NHS. Odima, I don't hear. I know they follow and argue. You guys talk about private healthcare as if it is separate from your normal NHS. Private healthcare is still under the NHS system. It is the same NHS staffs that still respond to you in private care. Anyway, so as I was saying, let's continue what we're saying. So first, now, surrogacy okay. So surrogacy is not the same thing as baby selling or trafficking. Let's get that very, very clear. Surrogacy is an arrangement where a mother carries a pregnancy for another person or couple who may not be able to carry a baby, who may not be able to have children naturally. Some women become surrogate mother because they genuinely want to help family, which is what we've said. We have friends who want to help. We have family members, who might choose to help. Or we even have the mother herself. It could be that the fertility concern is with dad. So dad then needs to go through the egg donor system and then, they inseminate the egg in mom. Now, the conversation, some women become surrogate because I wrote a note, so that's why I'm reading out. I don't want to lose my line of thought. Some women become surrogate because they genuinely want to help families struggling with infertility. Ideally, you shouldn't really be engaging with surrogacy if you do not have fertility concerns. Unlike what Ife was saying, oh yes, I can carry a baby, but I'm choosing not to carry a baby. No, surrogacy is not you going to supermarket and saying, oh, you know what? I can afford it. I can afford stuff from Tesco's, but you know what? I'm going to Harrods to go do my shopping. It shouldn't be about class. It shouldn't be about, yes, you can make a choice about surrogacy. You can make a choice about surrogacy. But one thing we also need to understand is when you now start making that choice and you are focusing, and that's where the power, that's where the social stratification comes in, where because you are rich, you can decide, you know what, I don't want to carry a baby. And this was what we were having in India back in the days, back in 2000, I think 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, even to 12, I would argue, where you were having middle class middle class women who were going to India. They were going to India. They didn't want to carry, they focused on their careers. These are things that you can see online. In the UK, we had Europe, let me say, or Western world, where we had middle-aged women who were focusing on their careers. And they knew that, like everybody knows, when you have a child, once you are pregnant and you then have a child, you probably will go back to work part-time. And that was also impacting on your career progression. So women obviously were focusing on their careers. They were wanting to build a career, and because they wanted to build a career, they were not wanting to have babies because that would interrupt their career progression. So what they were doing is they were more focused on their career, and when they got to a certain stage in their career, they were then making the choice not to carry babies, but go to India to rent a womb, and that was why it was popularly called womb rental. Okay, and that's why India was popularly tagged as a womb rental hub. Okay, and of course, remember, India has a big medical tourism industry. So most of these women, they were going to India not because they couldn't carry babies, but because they didn't want to carry the baby. They were choosing to rent wombs. Now, at the time, it wasn't a big deal for these women to go to India. What the problem was when these babies were being born or when eggs were being inseminated and stuff, there was concerns about the ethics around it, because most of the women, the people who were renting out their womb to carry the babies, a lot of them didn't understand what they were doing. There were records of pine in the process of insemination because there was no ethics being followed. Ethics that were being followed were very minimized. Instead, it was more money driven. It was class driven. Some intended parents, they did insemination, and by the time the baby is born, the skin color of the baby does not necessarily match the skin color of the intended parents. Remember, there are 3 people involved. Okay, so there was concerns, and some of them, the immigration process became too complicated. They dumped the child in India. So there was a whole lot. There was a whole lot to surrogacy at the time. Okay, because obviously they couldn't get away with doing surrogacy just anyhow here in the UK, and this is why that whatever Ife was saying, you can see. Yes, is a what's the name? You can see where. Oh, hey, good morning, sis. Good morning. How are you? You can see where things go wrong. Like people like Ife, as is saying, I can carry a baby, but I'm choosing not to have a baby. I suppose for her, it is all about, I don't know, but I remember back then, this was a concern in the West, where women who were rich were going abroad to rent wombs. They didn't want to carry the baby because they didn't want their body disfigured. They didn't want their body altered. And of course, this also brought about the story of cosmetic surgeries as well. So anyway, so like I was saying, some women become surrogate mother because they genuinely want to help the family. Others because they need the money urgently. There are 2 angles to it. Some, they really feel sorry for the couples who are going through fertility problem. They're like, you know what? I can volunteer to help you. And then, of course, if the person is volunteering, you need to go through the full legal process. And other women that are wanting to rent out their womb, for them, is I will do surrogacy. Why will I do it? At least I will make money. And that's where the surrogate agency comes into play. Okay? And this is where the conversation becomes very interesting, because there is the angle of emotions, and there's also the complications of exploitation. Now, for the woman, for the intending parent who are battling with fertility problem. There's our emotions. I mean, we are Africans. Most of us are Africans. Even in the Western world, it can be very heartbreaking. Going through the fertility process, not having a baby. The what do they call it now? You have what do they call it? You have some people go through stillbirth. They go through, what did they call it? No, not stillbirth. What's the name? What did they call that thing that someone who cannot carry a baby to terms? Miscarriage. Some people go through miscarriage, and it can be very daunting. And that's another thing that people don't talk about. In the angle of miscarriage, people just think, oh yes, they've miscarried the baby. Let's get through it. Miscarriage can be very, very daunting. Some women never get through it. It's mentally draining. It's mentally draining. Even stillbirth is mentally draining. Some women never snaps out of it. Some women struggle to bond with subsequent children that they have after miscarriage. There's postpartum depression. The surrogate mother who carries the baby, she doesn't have that contact with that baby. At what stage does that contact stop? Does she just have the baby and they just take the baby off her? So as a woman who has been through the labor process, ask yourself, you're having a baby, they're taking the baby away from you straight after birth. This is a baby you have bonded with for months. You've bonded with the baby, you've communicated with the baby, life has happened. And then you pop the baby, and the baby is being removed from you. Who is checking your mental health? What support is in place? How are you managing separation? Because you're separating from a baby that you have carried in your womb for 9 months or whatever months you have carried the baby. Oh, hugs AA, cyber hugs to you. So these are questions. And if I tell you, in social work, the most difficult angle of my work is when you're removing a baby from birth. That's the most, I can tell you that for free. That's the most difficult angle of my work. When you remove a baby from birth, it is very, very difficult. Yes, you have to keep a straight face. There are times I've got in my car and I've sobbed like a baby. Because you're human. We're human. And no matter how we want to say it, we're human. Oh, someone who has had, oh yeah, can imagine. I know, like, when I'm working with parents and we know that those parents are not going to be able to keep their baby, after the birth, it's a very tough decision to make. I can tell you that for free. Now, in countries like the UK, Canada, surrogacy is heavily regulated, and we have been discussing that for the last how many hours now? For the last an hour and over. Surrogacy is heavily regulated in the UK. I can't speak for other countries, but the UK system, I can tell you that for free, is heavily regulated. Just like adoption, just like fostering, okay, is heavily regulated. But in Nigeria, many people believe regulation is weak, and that creates opportunity for confusion, abuse, and exploitation, which is what we have been talking about. Now, why is surrogacy growing in Nigeria? Why is it growing in Nigeria? Let's be honest. Infertility is a painful issue in many African homes. Like we said, person go born pikin, person go marry. From the moment you bring your husband home, you bring your fiancé home, they don't begin to tell the girl, wabi beji, you go born twins. In 9 months' time, we'll come and do well done. And that man will come and be dancing. The lady, you are looking at her. Even the ordinary introduction, let me come to Yoruba kind of introduction. You go, yeah, Hold her very well. Touch her mangoes. This mango, it shall feed my children. Touch her womb. This womb, it shall carry my children. And of course, in 9 months' time, she will give birth to twins. She will give birth, and so we have some aunties and uncles, some mummies and grandmothers. They turn themselves to womb washer. The moment a woman gets married, they go don begin dey count from the day one. They don begin dey count am. Hey, you go dey hear aleye anene o ma ne, aleye anene o ma lele. They don begin dey count. They are not even thinking, what if the couple don't even want to start having children straight away? You have mother-in-law that will be saying, she will come to her son's house. That one, it can never be me, and it will never be me. But the mother-in-law go the son's house. Hello, my darling. Has he enter? What has enter? Wetin dey enter? They now start putting pressure on the woman. They put pressure on the young couple. As he enter, my son, the sharpshooter. Now so they go start. Maybe 6-7 months down the line, the woman, they don't see changes for her body. You go see some yeye mother-in-law, particularly the mothers of the groom. They will carry themselves, go to their son. My son, what is going on? Yabi, is there a problem? Some yeye mother-in-laws, particularly the mothers of the groom, let us speak to ourselves. Particularly the mothers of the groom, they will carry their 2 left leg. You will come there hear, my daughter, I came with, there is this pastor that prayed for me. This is holy water. Oh yeah, use this holy water to bath. What is going on? Even the mothers of the bride, they put pressure on their daughters as well. What is going on? Me, when I go to your father's house, straight away, your father played the ball and I caught it. It's called goal straight away. What if that's not what they are wanting to do straight away? What if they are allowed? What if all they want to do is know themselves? We have people who are just womb watchers. And now in the days of social media, they start putting pressure. They start putting pressure. Watch our Nigerian movies, our African movies. Look at those our yeye aunties and our uncles. What is going on now? Why are you guys not scoring goal? What is going on? Who are you to go into their homes to do that? Of course, if over time, give them grace. If over time they now come and say, okay, you know what, mom? We have been through fertility, whatever. And they come maybe later in the day. Don't worry, later in the day I will come back. So over time they will now come. Maybe they come and say, this is what it is, because fertility concerns is very, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. And this is one thing I will say to parents, right? Please give your children grace. It can be very, very daunting. Give your children grace. Don't be the one that will be throwing their pains in their face. Okay, sis, no worries. You have all this mother-in-law. Some yeye mother-in-law, they will even go and bring wife from, I don't know where this. It's like, wait, they will go and bring wife. I don't know where they always put those wives. They'll say, my son, you see this one that I brought? Look at her very well. Everything around her body, now pikin, they scream. They will go and carry themselves. They will bring it. Even some of them, they might not live with the couple in diaspora. But from Africa, they put fire. They put fire. They go begin to speak grammar. You be hearing, when are you going to have a baby? Look at the case of this girl of this lady, Lateef Adedimeji and Mobimpe. There are times that people will be looking at, Mobimpe, I think she did an interview where she said people will be watching her. They'll be saying, you have not yet got pregnant yet. Look at you are getting fat. And you know what, people will talk loosely. She said there were times they'll be saying to her, you are getting fat. When are you going to get pregnant? You are just getting fat. How can pregnancy stay in your body when your tummy is full of fat? We talk loosely. We don't think. People get married. You start trolling them. Those are the one in public. But even those when not even be public figure, the things where family they do, the things where family they do. You will even hear some, some people, they turn themselves to mind your business of everybody. Commissioner of everybody's mind your business. They will go around, even the parents of the bride and the groom, you see some yeye friends. They will go to them. What is going on? What's happening with your children? It's almost 1 year now that they have married. It's almost 2 years they've married. It's almost kinikon. Why are you counting for them? Who are you to be counting for them? And this is where we talk to parents-in-law. Stop putting pressure on your children. Let them be. Don't put pressure on them. Let them be. Let them go in their journey in grace. A lot of parents are doing too much. A lot of parents are pushing too much. It is adults that get married. Even if they want to discuss their fertility concern with you, let them be. Be the safe space for them so that they can talk to you about it and you can hold their hand in grace. Now, so life be. Now, our culture puts, and again, we also have another problem where churches, my miracle baby, the Shiloh baby, RCCG baby. Some people, some pastors, they make it their duty. You shall not be barren. They will throw it on your face. And to some people, that maybe some people even made the choice, they don't even want to have children. What happens next? You see our people, they turn themselves to womb police. You that don't even have children, what do you know you are talking about? You that don't have children, what do you know we are talking about? You even see some people, they will tell you, this meeting is strictly for people who biologically have their children. Some couples spend years praying and fasting, attending hospitals, fertility clinics, and church programs hoping for a child. In many communities, women face pressure, which is what we are talking about. The pressure is there. Some marriages break down because extended family get so involved. They throw it on their face. They won't let them be. They get so involved. They put pressure. Some of them is even the women. I don't know what women do now for our African community, for our African society. And the interesting thing is, not, you see these people that are calling themselves feminists. The people that even put more pressure on the bride and the groom, on the bride particularly, is not even the men. It's actually women who are actually being nasty to other women. The mother-in-law will come. Look at it, my son. My son is like his father. The father is a sharpshooter. The sister-in-laws too will come. We don't know how this our brother. Now them, now we women, they put wahala for women head. The mother-in-laws, they will carry the case of their daughter-in-law like gala on their head, for the wrong reasons. The mother-in-laws are the ones who are the womb watchers. The sister-in-law, the jobless sister-in-laws, the amebo sister-in-laws, that they don't have joy in their own homes. They don't have joy in their own lives. They are the ones busy putting their nose everywhere. In many communities, women face pressure They insult them. Now man you marry, it's two men that are in the house. My son is married to another man. Abeg, where, look, I have brought a woman for you. Those comments go a long way. Those comments are hard comments, very hurtful. Some family, they even treat a woman that does not have a child, that does not have her own biological child. They treat her with someone. They treat her like someone who is cursed. They treat her like someone that does not exist. Meanwhile, there are several ways you can have a child. You don't need to biologically carry a child. Because of all this wahala, a lot of Nigerian families, particularly the rich, and maybe those in diaspora, did they go find IVF? They are going towards IVF and surrogacy. And of course, they're not just going for IVF and surrogacy, they are opting for anonymous. In short, they even say there's a particular injection they give. So for women who are going through maybe surrogacy, who are using the surrogacy option or adoption option, so they say there are some injection. I don't know, my medical people, you know what I mean. They say there's an injection that they give, that so that while the couples are wanting to go through surrogacy or adoption, the doctors will inject them. I've been a nurse, I don't know, and their tummy will be getting bigger, just like a pregnancy tummy. The tummy will be growing. So people will assume, but it's false pregnancy. People will assume that she's pregnant just to cover their shame. No be small thing, no, doctors. Now, Nigeria is becoming attractive to surrogacy. Guess what? Because it's very cheap. The service is cheap compared to the rest of the world, compared to Western country. The service is cheap, and remember, the legal system is relaxed. You have to remember that the legal system is very relaxed compared to the Western countries. But the big question we should be asking ourselves is, if a woman is agreeing to rent a womb, that is agreeing to be a surrogate mother because she's poor and desperate for money, the question is that choice truly a free choice? Obviously, she's doing it for money. Her reason for doing it is driven because of her financial inability. Exactly, Bami, you captured it well. Bad economy. So if she's wanting money, if it's because of financial reasons that she's making the choice to be a surrogate mother, then the reality is, poverty is actually the one making that decision for her. It's not because she chooses to do it. Now let me show you a video. Now this is the cost of surrogacy. This is an agency. Surrogate mother needed anywhere in Nigeria. So for single child is 3.15 million. For twins is 3.4 million. For triplet is 3.650 million. Now there's payment plan. Second payment, you get 2.740 million. You can see it there. So the payment plan is in 3 stages. Look at it. So you can feed the cap. You can feed the cap and feed the sunshade. So you see it there. Can you see? That's an agency. They have a payment plan. Look at it there. Now this is the payment plan. They put the money in front. And here it is. Right? This is it. And they come.
Girls have come to speak out about what they have been offered for surrogacy in Nigeria, and I'll be attaching it here so you read for yourself, so that when next you think of evil in that country, you have to know that the next person close to you is as evil as the government they are condemning, because nobody have human sympathy again. Now, these are the response from girls. First-hand experiences of girls. First-hand experience. First-hand offer of 1.5 million, 2 million as well for having twin, because you think that those girls are poor, because you think that they've not seen money. What will that money do for them in the current day Nigeria? We know, right? In the current day Nigeria, we know how much is a rent for a year. How much is rent in a year in places like, in fact, anywhere? How much is rent? How much is feeding that you are offering girls that amount of money? This is what you offer girls in 2026. In 20.
So you can see. Hold on. No.
Surrogacy. The problem is not the people that are using you, your clients. The problem are you people with surrogate company. There was a time, a while ago, I made a video. I never posted that video, because this wasn't the first time I was going to hear about the atrocity that you guys commit in the surrogacy world in Nigeria, exploiting the young children, the young girls. And I believe that all the girly girl, I'm a girl child, all of you should speak out on this issue, because these are your girls that these people are exploiting now. They need a voice. Now, like I said, the problem are not your client, because you charge your clients and they pay. The problem are you, company, that you refuse to pay these girls accordingly. You refuse to take care of them. These girls, before and after, they need every support, psychological support, emotional support. I don't even know whether, I'm very sure that you guys don't even pay them as much as you write in your flyer. Because this girl, she posted a flyer. This girl that was talking about the surrogacy, she posted a flyer. And I think she saw in that flyer that 1 child, 3 million, 2 child, this, 3 child. And I'm very sure, 100% sure that you guys don't even pay them that amount. Those amounts are just in the paper. You don't pay them. You are using people to carry pregnancy. Like I always say, America won't be 10, 25 days. Do you know if you want to do surrogacy in this country, and me and bossy, go and check, put a video, surrogacy story in America, and see how fragile, how they take care of these girls. Somebody is going to carry pregnancy that you cannot carry yourself, whether due to problem or medical history, medical situation, just because you decide. Because some of you now are not deciding that because you don't want your body, you don't want anything to happen to your body, you just decide to choose surrogacy. Something that you cannot do. Somebody else is doing it for you. Somebody else is doing it for you. You employ these people.
To the exploitation concern. Yes, surrogacy is beautiful. And like you heard the fair Agoro say, yes, I can carry a baby, but I'm not wanting to carry a baby. I don't want my body to be disfigured. So anything we reach in Nigeria is all about class. It's not about the best interest of the person. Everything we do, I'm not ashamed to say it as a Nigerian, because this is where bitter truth is. We are constantly looking for how to exploit ourselves. Government go exploit, individual go exploit, church they go exploit, everybody go exploit. Everybody go exploit. Even look at the domestic staff agencies. It's my house girl. You not gonna go give them. You will not pay them. You will treat them so unfairly. Your drivers, look at people. We don't see cases where people they go carry pepper put for their house girl nyash. Their drivers, they treat them as if they are not human. We have cases of surrogacy exploitation. Now, there's a audio. I'm going to play the audio for you. The video is too gooey for me to play because of community standard. Please listen to this. This is actually a lady who went through surrogacy. Hear what happened to her.
Surrogate mother. I went to this agency to be their surrogate mother. And after I went there on the first day of my period, these people gave me contracts to sign. And sign this.
Please, can you hear the audio? Type yes if you can hear the audio so I can know that you hear.
Contracts. And I prepared for IVF treatment. After I started the IVF treatment.
Thank you.
A week later, I went to this agency to be their surrogate mother. And after I went there on the first day of my period, these people gave me contracts to sign. I signed these contracts and I prepared for IVF treatment. After I started the IVF treatment, a week later I became pregnant. And these people brought a new contract for me to sign. A very ridiculous contract. For me to give consent for them to remove any of my organs during childbirth.
Show na the year.
If I contact HIV from the intending parents or through the process of delivery, I will be compensated with 1 million.
Did you hear? Aside from the fact that she signed contract for Kinon Porukwe for surrogacy, they also brought a contract for any of her organs to be removed. Make with the year they go.
During childbirth. If I contact HIV from the intending parents or through the process of delivery, I will be compensated with 1 million for HIV. HIV. A lifelong illness that not even 10 million can cure. And that if my uterus will follow me until it's completely damaged, that I will be compensated with 250,000. My life is just like a joke in the hands of these people. After you successfully did a embryo transfer on me, you brought a new contract to me to sign, giving consent for my whole life. And after I asked you to make review of this, I'm not okay with your terms. You abandoned me with twins.
Shengbo.
I can't walk. I can't take care of my child. I can't even make a living.
Shall you hear? After they waited, and this is what was happening in India. This was exact same thing that was happening in India in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Until the UK government said no to surrogacy from India. And I think subsequently other countries too, took a step back from going to India. Bami, you said, why did the women? I think something like why did the women agree to be exploited? Remember, poverty is a driving force. Poverty is a driving force, and we need to understand that. There's a difference between somebody who is willing to do it willingly and someone who is doing it because of financial needs. Now, again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier. If they are doing it because of financial needs, then there's concerns, because are they getting a fair deal? Are they getting a fair deal when these contracts are being drafted? And I can tell you for free, the answer is no. And that's why I was also saying about Nancy Umeh. I'm not saying she did anything. I don't know whether she did anything wrong. But I remember when she mentioned that the surrogate mother was anonymous. That made me cringy. Because the surrogate mother should never be anonymous. And the moment you are having anonymous is something that highlights exploitation. So, the part that many people are afraid to discuss openly is the concerns around exploitation. There are so many women that go into this agreement, they don't even understand what they are going into. You can hear the lady that was talking. She knew she was going into surrogacy, but she had no clear knowledge, because for her, she wanted she had financial needs. Abeg, how surrogacy and organ donor, I take they related? How is it related in any shape or form? They were saying that she should after they made sure that she was pregnant, they now change contracts. Remember, let us be honest, in the Nigerian system where we are, let us be honest, except we want to lie to ourselves, in the African system, it is he who owns the money, the person that get money. Abi, he who owns the bag, plays the piper. How did they say it? Money is what drives everything. Of course, the rich get away with so many things in Nigeria. I'm not saying it doesn't happen here, but at least there's still law to help fight you or to hold the rich accountable here. I am not going to stand here and tell you the Western country is a perfect system, because it's far from it. But the legal system hold the rich accountable. Okay? But in the Nigerian system, so long as you have money, you get money, bullshit, keep quiet. Owo ni keke yin rere, thank you jare. So, money is what decides. Because if it's not money that decide, how can someone say they want to do surrogacy? They want to go to the surrogacy system, and yet they are choosing, they are going to the surrogacy system. They already signed a contract, and then they wake up one morning and they say, as soon as the woman get pregnant, they now say, no, we are signing another contract. They are going to give her 250,000 if she has HIV. Now, when the lady refused to sign the contract, what happened? They left her with the 2 babies. They left her with twins, and they walked away. That screams serious exploitation. Now, let us hear how the law should work.
Are you aware that a surrogacy agreement done wrong can send you to jail? Now, what is surrogacy? Surrogacy is of 2 categories. First of all, there is the traditional surrogacy and the gestational surrogacy. Traditional surrogacy is the type of surrogacy where the surrogate mother is the biological mother of the child. She just donated her eggs. Now, the gestational surrogacy is the one where the surrogate mother is the carrier, like she's the incubator of the child. Now, in Nigeria, there is no law regulating surrogacy arrangement in Nigeria. What people do is the general...
Did you hear that? In Nigeria, there is no law regulating surrogacy arrangement in Nigeria. Did you hear that? There is no law regulating it. So what did they do? They go into normal contract system, contract law.
Law of contract. That is why a lawyer would draft a surrogate agreement for the parties involved. The surrogate mother is the biological mother of the child. She just donated her eggs. Now, the gestational surrogacy is the one where the surrogate mother is the carrier, like she's the incubator of the child. Now, in Nigeria, there is no law.
Bami, you said the lady could still have sued them with the initial contract she signed. Bami, why are you talking like this? In Nigeria, where money talk and bullshit keep quiet, you are suing who?
regulating surrogacy arrangement in Nigeria. What people do is the general law of contract. That is why a lawyer would draft a surrogate agreement for the parties involved. However, a surrogate agreement done wrong can send the biological parents to jail. At the time of birth of that child, the surrogate mother is the legal mother known to law, the legal parent, right? Now, there is something known as custody order. After the child has been born, the biological parents owe themselves a duty to proceed to get a custody order for that child, because technically at the time of birth, the surrogate is the legal parent. Now, with that agreement that they have, they need to proceed to the court to get something known as a custody order, transferring the right of the surrogate mother to them. If they proceed to do otherwise, there is something known as human trafficking, child trafficking, and all of that in Nigeria. So before you go into surrogacy, as it were, understand the legal part of surrogacy. And yes, this is a call to our legislators to draft a law regulating surrogacy arrangements in Nigeria.
Okay, now I hear you guys. You know, she could go to law, she could go to court, she could get a lawyer to do. No be money she need to get the lawyer. How much are you paying her for the surrogacy? You know how Nigeria work. Things are not cheap in Nigeria. No be Mohbad case they still dey do till today. They still never know. They still never get to head or tail for Mohbad case. I be no be here all of us there with the watching Mohbad case. When they turn out to fracas, nothing when they never use that Mohbad case they do. Please, we all know how our system work. Don't let us play ignorant to ourselves. Now, let us be honest. A lot of women, like we said, they enter into surrogacy. They don't understand. They don't fully understand the emotional, the medical, and the legal consequences. For them, I need money. They need money, and that's what they are focused on. And there's agencies, there's surrogacy agencies that are set up. There are surrogacy agencies that are set up. All of them, they will come and advertise. And you know, say once you get ring lights, you get social media page. Okay, on shall not say loud. They come begin they do flyer. They begin they advertise. People self go begin they fall in. I want to make bori wole. I want to make bori wole. Now be the case of Nigerian system. And you know, say people don't go ask question. And don't forget, they have legal team around them. It's all about making money. Let us see, except we want to lie to ourselves. You and I know that when something comes to, when we set up something in Nigeria, it is all about profit making. Nobody is interested on how you feel. It is profit making. Onlo differ from IVF, surrogacy, name it, visa, all those things. It is all about money making. Anything we enter Nigeria na money making level. People are so focused. It is this is our turn to blow. And that is where we have found ourselves. Fertility treatment, surrogacy is a beautiful thing when it is done right. But when exploitation, and in a system whereby it is all financially focused. We saw what happened with Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's child. Where medical system in Nigeria, our medical healthcare system in Nigeria is money focused. It's all about profit making. They don't treat you first. The first thing is go and bring money. Everything we do is centered around money. Are we saying people should not make money? The answer is no. But humanity should come before money. Look at the churches. It is all about money. Everywhere you turn to, it is premium or nothing. Everything we do, it is premium or nothing. Now be waiting what they do for Nigeria.
On the client side, those of you that travel from United States to Nigeria to have your surrogate done, surrogate in the United States range from $100,000 to $200,000, in which almost half of that money is given to the surrogate, right? And you go to places like Nigeria and they ask you to pay about 5 million or 6 million, and you willingly pay it. Now in the United Kingdom, surrogacies cost about, I think, roughly 60 thereabouts to 100,000 pounds, or let me say 40 to 100,000 pounds, which almost half of that money as well goes to the surrogate after everything is done. Now, most of you go to Nigeria and you are asked to pay some money that is negligible, and you know that this is at the expense of the girl that is going to carry this pregnancy. Because why will you want a woman to carry 4 babies, which you know that the risk of those multiple pregnancy, it's really, really high. Sometimes when people have such multiple gestation, let's say for example 2 embryo was transferred and they divide and they're now 4, there is what is called an embryo reduction, and this is to reduce the risk to the woman that is carrying that baby. But most of you surrogates, not you surrogates, those of you that have the babies are so wicked that you want them to carry those 4 babies. You don't even accept them to have embryo reduction for the life of the mother that is carrying the baby, because after one, it is not you. Now, this lady here that is saying that they were charged 28 million naira and they went to check and only 3 million naira will be given to the surrogate. Do you see the problem with those surrogate agencies, right? There are some that even the clients know that they are not paying the surrogate well and they go ahead to do it. And there are some of them that the client does not know. But I'm telling you, majority of them, you clients know that they are giving these girls just 3 to 5 million naira to carry that pregnancy for 9 whole months, and you go ahead to sign those contracts because it is not you. Most of these girls, they lose their life in the process. There's nothing in check to check if these girls lose their life, what is it for them. Once they lose their life, that deal is end. You people sweep it under the carpet. Not talking about the psychological effect of having a baby as a surrogate. I know that is a decision, you sign it, that is not my problem. But the psychological effect of it, where in Senate claim where surrogacy is done, when those babies have been handed over to the people that pay this girl, they provide them emotional and psychological support, which I am telling you does not happen in Nigeria. And this is what we need to be speaking about, because this is exploitation of the girl child. And
So you dey hear, the lady might not be accurate with the cost of surrogacy, but the concern here is the exploitation. That's where the concerns are, is the exploitation. Hold on. The concern is to do with the exploitation and how this is being done.
we have to start calling out surrogate companies in Nigeria because they're exploiting young girls. Exploitation. Surrogate companies, you people are exploiting young girls because you know the country is a poor country, and we need to start reporting all of you, and we need to start dragging all of you because you people are wicked, your clients are wicked. In fact, what you are looking for, you will not get it because you are evil. You are evil. Look, I came across this flyer where a girl is saying that this is what they are paying. You are paying girls to carry 4 million naira to carry 4 children. You are paying them 3.5 million to carry 3 children, and you are paying them 3 million for 1 child, apart from the useless expenses and all the package we run with for 5 million. You are a thief. You are evil. You are a thief. You are evil. And I need to know the name of this company because we need to call them out because you people are exploitative. You people will come and say Nigeria is a bad country. This is how Nigeria keep going down. We're talking of the president, but you people are the worst thieves. A girl is going to give her life for 9 months and you are paying her that money. And the problem is that girls still go to patronize you because you people go as far as going to the remote side of the north, the remote side of the east, the remote side of the west to get girls that can barely afford daily living.
So I think you get the gist now. The exploitation is where the real concerns, and please, we all need to put our voices, we all need to join our voices in enlightening these concerns. The surrogate companies, the surrogate agencies, they go to remote parts of Nigeria. Of course, they're advertising to students, they go to remote parts to go get them. The story about baby factory in Nigeria is real. Don't let us lie to ourselves. Whether they're not getting the deal, the fair deal they need is another problem. We all know that pregnancy carries risk. There is risk in pregnancy. Don't let us lie. Labor itself gets risk. There is mental health. Some people have babies, after their babies, they have postpartum depression. Some people, there are so many things that happen. Imagine carrying a baby for 9 months, and suddenly somebody they carry the baby away from you. Right? Some women, they struggle to cope emotionally. It's a big loss for them. Who is caring for these surrogate mothers when the babies are collected by the intended parents? Some intended parents, they are flaunting the baby. Some don't let anybody lie to you. Most intended parents know what is going on. They go through agencies, they flaunt it. They go through agencies, they do to them. They don't care. All their own is, now I have my baby. And that's where it ends. Even when we start talking about adoption in Nigeria, when a child is adopted in the Nigerian system, does that child have access to therapy? The adopted parents, do they really know the history of that child? They don't know the history of the child they've adopted, because trauma presents itself at different stages in the life of that child. Even clinics and medical centers, they are part of this. To them, again, it's financially driven. It's all about, we will make money. So all these agencies, these surrogacy agencies, they work side by side with hospitals, with fertility clinics. And the question is, if surrogacy is not properly regulated in Nigeria, you can imagine what goes on behind the scene. Even the so-called lawyers who are drafting contracts, what are they really drafting? They are drafting the contract. Is it a case that the lawyers that draft the contract are the ones representing both the intended parents and the surrogate mothers? Or does the surrogate mother, do they have their own independent legal system, legal professionals? Right? Do they have their own independent legal professionals? Is it the agency? Let's even ask, with regards the contract drafting, let's even ask a thought-provoking question. Is it the agency that provides the legal representative for both the intended parent and the foster parent? If that is the case, then where is the autonomy for the surrogate mothers? Because if the surrogate company is the one that is providing legal representation for both intended parents and surrogate mother, there's already concern there. How fair are they fair? Because if the surrogate mother is doing it for financial purpose only, because she's financially disadvantaged, are they getting lawyers who are working in the best interest of these surrogate mothers? These are questions we need to start asking ourselves. And you can easily see where exploitation is going to be promoted. Then there's also the angle of the weak regulation around surrogacy, whereby unethical practices are growing. And then there is, of course, they grow and they are also unnoticed. Remember, for Nigeria, for Africa, money speaks why nonsense keeps quiet. A legal advocate bibawo. Legal advocate for Nigeria, you dey talk. Yeah. And because many people are, this surrogate mother, a lot of them are struggling economically. Some of these women are vulnerable themselves. Remember, the criteria to recruit all these women is a situation whereby these women must have had children. That's most go and look at the surrogacy agencies. When they put advert for recruitment, they say that the women must already have carried children. They must have had their own children. So now think about it. In a situation whereby the women carry their own children and they become surrogate mother, and then maybe the contract does not work in their favor, what is the next thing? The intended parents, they dump the baby. They dump the surrogate child with them. So who is actually advocating for these surrogate mothers? Another thing we should also be asking, are the poor women being empowered? Or is their body, or is it a case that their body is just solely business opportunity, whereby the intended parents are focused on just renting wombs? Again, this is the same thing that was happening in India, where the focus was strictly on, I'm going to India to go and rent a womb. They are treating the body of the surrogate mother like going to supermarket, whereby let me just go to Tesco, let me go pick what I want on the shelf, let me go to Asda, let me go to Harrods, let me go to Jenner's. And again, let us come back to what our realities are. It is women versus women. Of course, we all know that a lot of us, personally, I support surrogacy. Okay, and I'm of the opinion that, surrogacy, a woman should be allowed to decide what happens with her body, definitely. But in that decision making, it is important that the woman is legally informed. It's just like abortion, where women decide what happens with their body. But being legally informed and medically informed matters a lot. Remember when we were talking about the case of Ebele? Is it Ebele Okafor's baby mama? Remember where she said I think she said she had 4 abortions, but 2 of the abortions were multiple babies. That has a medical implication on her in future. Of course, we know that surrogacy helps families, particularly families who are struggling with fertility. And we should also have very good conversation. We should be open and honest in our conversation of surrogacy, whereby the woman knows what she's going into, and she gets the right legal guidance around it. But in the midst of it too, we also have the situation whereby people see the surrogate mothers as modern machine. They see them as modern machine. This one will help me carry my baby. And to the intended parents, all they see the women to be is just, this is a womb, and they don't care. Of course, the woman who is wanting to sell her womb, who is wanting to rent a womb to carry a baby, she is seen as a means to an end. But we should also have a balance around it. Then let us talk about those of us, we Africans in diaspora. For us, the country we are coming from, whether America, UK, we can't talk about UK because UK does not allow a baby to come from outside their country. You can't go out of the UK now to go and say you are doing IVF. When you carry the pikin, you go come talk where you get the pikin from, of which they are not even allowing it. But if you are, those of us in diaspora, IVF treatment is expensive, surrogacy is expensive. What are we doing? We follow join. We follow them join. We follow them join. Go Nigeria, to Africa. It's cheap in Africa. Let us go and do it. And then some of us in diaspora, we have agencies. We have surrogacy agencies in Africa. A lot of us who are in the diaspora, we follow them, register those agencies. We will not be recruiting. You don't know, some of us are visa agents. Look at the OCOS thing. A lot of people that did all of these things, they were here in the UK, where they were doing the abuse of COS. A lot of us, we did there, we did promote the exploitation. Now we go even, they say, don't worry. And we have our pounds. We get Osimu, we get pounds. We get dollar. We are flaunting the dollar, we are flaunting the pounds, we are flaunting the euros. Whatever currency you are spending in your country, you are flaunting it. You are the brain behind the financing of the process. You are the one helping to recruit. And any little thing, it will go blow, we will get money. Because you self, you won't go do this in December. And of course, we are forgotten. A lot of us are forgetting that, yes, in as much as we can help, in as much as we can help to do all of this, to set up agencies. You are looking at, there are a lot of agencies in Nigeria, surrogacy agencies in Nigeria. You hear, we work with lawyers, we work with legal team in Ireland, we work in legal team in America, we shaking. Exploitation don't start. Remember, if you are going to Africa to go and do surrogacy, you are talking of international laws. You need to equip yourself with international law. You need to know how it works. There's immigration angle there. There's the parental right. There's citizenship. Some countries will not allow citizenship for children, for surrogate children. Then you have to talk about travel documents. There's so much there. But in all of these, there's one key thing that most of these agencies avoid, is the emotional impact it has. The emotional trauma and the emotional and psychological trauma this has on the rented womb. There's that angle. So you, the intended parents, you are wanting to carry the baby and go, but you're not thinking about, okay, that lady, yes, she's been separated from the baby she's carried. How is she going to manage? Before you go to Africa to go and do it, before you go to Africa for your surrogacy, have you asked the company? Have you asked them questions like, okay, what is the treatment for these ladies? How did they care for these ladies? How are they caring for these ladies? Before and after the baby is being born, after the baby has been born, what did they do? How did they ensure that these ladies receive the right support? The lawyers that they are going to use, the legal team that they are using, are you ensuring that legal team is fair? Just like you want a fair deal for yourself, are you ensuring that legal team also has a fair deal for the lady who is, for that woman who is, for the womb of the woman you are renting? Ask questions. Don't just be money driven. Don't be like Ife, that all she's thinking about is, yes, I'm not going to carry my baby. Yes, it's not about content creation. There's emotional attachment there. There's financial dispute. There's legal disagreement that is happening across country. Make sure that the woman is even in your own best interest, that the lady that is renting out her womb for you, that she's actually legally protected, psychologically protected, financially protected. Because let us be honest, women supporting women, it is women supporting women when it fits us. The feminist conversation is interesting when it suits our own narrative and suits our own agenda. A lot of abuse that is going on, that is being perpetrated on women, it is women perpetrating it on another woman. Always make sure that you seek expert advice. Even for that surrogate mother, seek expert advice. Because you know what? One thing you have forgotten is that baby, yes, that baby, you are the one that supplied the egg and your husband gave the sperm, whatever it is. But remember, that baby also has a gene of the woman that has carried her in the womb. It is even in your own best interest that lady is stabilized. It is in your best interest that lady is being looked after. We've had cases where women has rented out their room for their friends. We've had cases where women have rented their wombs to their friends. And guess what? When there were things that went wrong with that baby, maybe there was medical condition, it was easier because they had a good relationship. The surrogate mother was there, hands-on with them. The surrogate mother was even some intended parents. They allowed the surrogate mother become part of that child's life. But hey, say our people, we get our own for body. And there's no way we can talk about surrogacy without talking about culture, without talking about religion. You know, although some churches they support surrogacy, they support fertility treatment, but they will say no to surrogacy. It's just like how they will be praying in church when a woman wants to give birth. They say, you will give birth like Hebrew women. There shall not be cesarean. You shall not have what do they call a cesarean session. As how? If that's all she needs. What if that's what she needs for her to survive? Till date, we still have situation whereby some churches have influenced that cesarean system, whereby a woman wants to give birth, the husband will refuse to sign. We say, because in our church we don't do cesarean operation. Oh, surrogacy is a no in Islam. Really? You know, there's a lot of overlap to it. If surrogacy is not allowed in Islam, that's interesting, no, because you get one person we just born pikin, we be saying that surrogacy they use to born the pikin. Anyway, they just do triplet level now. So anyway, we could leave her. A lot of because of culture, a lot of families are still, a lot of couples are still scared. They are still scared of considering surrogacy as an option. Just like some people will not consider adoption. Just like adoption is still something that is very, very touchy-feely. They're like, you even see them, they'll be writing, my adopted children. You know, there's a lot of personal conversations around this. And you know, in Nigeria, you know, conversations like this surrounds ethics, women protection. You know, there's quite a lot to it. It's deeper than just we want to have children. But in all, you know, we have to think about the pain of fertility. We have to think about poverty that is driving people, that is driving women to to rent out their wombs. And also, poverty is also promoting exploitation. We can't talk about surrogacy without looking at the right of the women. You know, women supporting women. Are you women supporting women because it only suits your own narrative and it suits your own agenda? What if women supporting women also looks at ensuring that both sides of the coin, they get fair deal? Surrogacy is a miracle, muku no lie. It's a medical breakthrough. Surrogacy is a medical breakthrough, but the question is it really a medical breakthrough when the rented womb is at the receiving end of exploitation, when she's the most vulnerable of it all? Anyway, let me put my number. Maybe people want to call in, I don't know. Do we have people that want to call in? If you want to call in, please call in. Let us hear your own opinion. Otherwise, I think we are good to go. Does anybody want to call in? If not, let me come and get myself away and go and start making register for celebration. I want to come and make I get a father rice where I won't cook. Okay, I think nobody want to call in. So thank you everybody for listening. But honestly, this is a topic that is very, very, is close to my heart, a very sensitive topic. Do I cook? I cook, but you know, because I live alone now, I do what works for me. I only do what, but I have a father rice. I bought a father rice. I want to make but me, you shall dey look for trouble. I get ofada rice, but I want to make green pepper. I want to do atadidi. And just enjoy myself. So na so it be. So thanks everybody for joining, and please let's keep lending our voice to this This surrogacy thing is a big conversation, and please, let's keep learning our voice. But those of us in diaspora, we can do better. We have a lot of influence around most of these conversations. We can do better. Let us lend our voice. Yes, they do women supporting women. We know some people no support on ourselves. But in the case of women supporting women, what are we really supporting? Is it women supporting women when it suits us? I don't know. I will go and get a green bell pepper. I'll go and get green bell pepper and do some cooking. I just honestly I feel like eating ofada rice. Yesterday I wanted to do it, but I couldn't just be bothered. Oh, thank you. You know, yes, yesterday I couldn't be bothered. But on this, but I want to really enjoy myself. I want to make I want to make green pepper. I already have my turkey. I grilled my turkey. I just want to I'll boil ofada rice and then go from there. I already have pepper. In the UK, you can't surrogacy, adoption and co is not allowed from outside from Nigeria. I don't know if I have the time. I don't know. I don't know what my today. I've got a very busy day today. If I have the time, I might come around. I might come back. I don't know. I'll see. Let me see. I want to catch up with families and friends, and then I might come back later. Otherwise, I will see you at some point tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and enjoy your day. Where can you get your father rice? I got mine from African shop. Somebody is calling. Hold on. Hello, hello.
Hello, Aproko.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm enjoying my life.
You should. You should actually, because life is for enjoyment.
No be small something.
I was hoping I would catch up because I was actually listening to the show, and I know that you're rounding up. But
No,
like,
go ahead. Go ahead.
This is my first time of calling. You should have something for first time callers.
No be small something. No worry. We go beat drum for you.
Okay, so just a quick one. I know it's not related to the topic, but you did mention it. This is Chinwe speaking, so I was the one that was typing on your chat.
Sorry, keep talking. I just need to pick something at the door. I've got somebody at my door.
Okay, no, that's fine. So I was the one typing up in the comment section when you were talking about, IVF and the number of cycles one can have in terms of limits and all of it, and I just thought to call and just, just clarify a few things. Again, stuff like this is really, really dear to my heart. I'm a Niger woman, and these sort of topics they're kind of like taboo topics for us, which is why there's a lot of abuse. Because if it wasn't taboo and if it was something that we are quite open to talking about, I think there'll be a lot more education around things like this, like the IVF, the surrogacy, and the rest of it. But anyway, let me hit my point before so I don't hold you for too long. So in terms of, like the IVF, I know it is not linked to surrogacy, but it's somehow, linked. So in terms of IVF and the number of cycles one can have, again, like I said in the comment section, it is really down to funding on the NHS. And I'll use myself as a case study. So Aproko, you and I were exact same age.
Okay.
So back, I started my IVF journey 2000 and 2014 actually. So 2014, because of course I got married late. So I think I was 37 at the time. So I was on the NHS, and for whatever reason, it's looking back now that I understand what was going on. So at the time I started my IVF journey, my colleague at work, an Oyibo chick, we were doing this IVF thing together. Now, when I started mine, for whatever reason, there was unnecessary delays. Now, I didn't know that there was a cutoff age on the NHS. I was so uninformed. I did not know this. So I started, I was 37 at the time. There was delays. Yes, there were delays and delays. This my colleague, within that 3-year window that I was on the NHS, this my colleague that is an Oyibo woman. This woman had 3 cycles of IVF already. In fact, no, she had 2. And then she got pregnant on the 3rd. I was still on the NHS trying to get the first cycle. So again, this opens up another conversation about medical bias when it comes to our Dudu people. So, I was
but Chinwe, hold on.
It was
Chinwe, can I ask a question? Yeah. So,
of course.
I hear what you said about Dudu, but you said you only started engaging when you were 37, right? I
started treatment. Yes,
when you were 37.
I started, and there are steps. I was 37. Okay. There are steps before you actually get into the main IVF thing. There are all sorts of tests that they will carry out, blood tests, scans, and all sorts.
So is it a case? In fact, So is it a case that they didn't give you all the information you needed at the point of inquiries?
Not necessarily, no. So, of course, you start the journey from your GP, and then they will tell you, okay, before they even refer you to the hospital, you would need to prove that you have tried to have unprotected sex for I beg.
No, it's okay, because people are learning.
You've tried... You've tried unprotected kerewa for whatever, for, a set number of times before they now say, okay, because you've done this unprotected kerewa for maybe, say, example, 6 months, then you then qualify to be referred on to the NHS for further treatment. So that's what happened. So this information that I'm talking about, it's really your prerogative. So in that case, it was my prerogative to actually read up, because I'm the patient. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it always helps for us to actually be equipped with information. But again, our people, we don't really read, we don't really understand these things. I went into the thing blindly. I didn't know, because of course I did not think that I would have fertility issues. I got married and I just thought, well, let's go and have a child. How difficult can it be? So fast forward to being referred to the NHS, and then the long wait for just tests. It was ridiculous. I was at a point, I was booked in to have what's it called, ultrasound scan, because they would do the ultrasound scan of the womb and all of it. I was booked in to have ultrasound scan. Do you know it took me a year to have this ultrasound scan? Believe it or not. I would have the appointment. In fact, there was a day I was actually on my way to the hospital. I wasn't driving at the time. I was on my way to the hospital. I was inside the bus, very close to the hospital. And then the hospital rang. Hello, is this Chinwe? I said, yes, it is me. Oh, you've got an appointment? I said, okay. I said, yes. And then she said, unfortunately, we've got to cancel it because the radiographer is not in. I was like, can you not get someone else to look at? Because they had already cancelled on me twice. And time is going. Do you understand?
Good old NHS.
It was all these cancellations. And then 2017, when I turned 40, I went for my appointment, and the consultant, it was so cold. The consultant turned around and said, unfortunately, your journey will end here. Then I didn't realize that there was this barrier, this age barrier. He said, your journey ends here. And I said, why? you know. And then he said, oh, you know, because I had hit the threshold age, that I was 40, but I can go back to my GP and see if I can get funding. So, you know, I think they provide funding per area. So I can go back to the
Because
GP
it's more like
and
a
see if there's...
postcode. I know it's more like a postcode funding, like a postcode lottery kind of thing.
It is. It is. Oh my God, I
Yeah.
have never felt so hopeless and sad. The cry, right, tear that day, I know, say, Oyibo know they do things with emotions, they no send.
Exactly. Yeah.
They no send me. So I picked myself up, and then my husband and I started to look into the private sector. Now, I work for a private healthcare company, and that's why I was typing everything I was typing on the comment section. So I looked into the private sector, and then I realized, oh, okay, so if you have your money, you can actually do this thing, oh. You know, because again, apart from the funding on the NH, because funding is limited, there are a lot of stringent rules attached to IVF. You had to be a certain BMI. You could not be 0.001 above that BMI. So if the BMI was 29, for instance, and you were 29.01, they will send you back. You have to get to that BMI before they will even answer you. And all of these things, you know, all of these things is, you know, you're paying with time, because time is going. Time is of the essence. Do you see what I mean? So when we realized that, okay, we could go private and everything, of course, these things are not they're not cheap.
Exactly.
They are not cheap.
Yeah.
But we were lucky. You know, what I did was I was then forced.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? So after my experience, obviously not very good experience on the NHS, I was then forced to go and read up, you know, find out what it is, what this IVF, what do I need to know, what am I entitled to, what can I do, you know. So I did my findings. I went online and I specifically looked for a doo-doo doctor. I wanted somebody that would understand me and understand my physiology. I was just fed up with the way I was treated on the NHS. And just, you know, just the whole, there was a lot of faff. There was a lot of faff. You're faffing around, you know, just wasting my time. So anyway, I found my doctor, and then of course we started treatment, and there was a difference. So you see that BMI thing, I was made to, if you are above a certain BMI, that your IVF would be successful. That is not true.
Hello?
So can you hear me?
Yeah, you keep breaking. Yeah, we can hear now.
Oh, I'm in the car. I'm in the car, so that's why there's a bit of a lag. But can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
So when I went private, that was when I now, you know, I understood that a lot of what they do on the NHS is actually tied to funding.
Yeah, just like every other thing. But I think the thing,
Yes.
sis, sorry to interrupt. I think the thing is,
It's okay.
because I used to work for the NHS. I was a procurement manager in the NHS, right? Of course, I was never a clinician. Even just ordinary, what's it called? Even just ordinary, even in third sectors too. Everything we do is all, even social. I'm a social worker now, and I can tell you for free, everything we do is all tied to funding. But there's one thing,
It is.
because I remembered when I had problems with my skin. So I've always had a very good skin until I went on holiday from hell. I went on holiday from hell. I had so for whatever reason I chose to stay in hostel instead of staying in hotel.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in short, I will never try it again, because so I mean I just wanted to explore. So I went to stay in hostel. You know these hostels that they have. So while I was staying in the hostel, what then happened was I slept on the bed. I didn't realize that they don't change the bedding straight away. You know, like hotel where they change the beddings. You understand?
Yes.
So, and I've always had a good skin. Like I'm the kind of person that I can rub I can even use ordinary groundnut oil to rub my skin. I will be fine. I'm not particular about soap or whatever. I can bath with anything.
Skincare.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it just so happened that this particular day, and a backpacker experience, so I go do what I'm not supposed to do. Anyway, so I went, and when I came back, I just noticed my skin was funny. So it was like I didn't realize that I didn't, I've been hearing of eczema, but I didn't know what eczema is. There's a difference between reading about it and actually experiencing it.
Yes. Exactly.
So that was how my skin, we didn't even have patches. Like my skin was itching. Okay? I'm talking of, I had this thing non-stop for 4 years.
Oh no.
So I went to the NHS. I remembered initially I went to the doctor. When I went to the doctor, I went to my GP office as my first point of contact. My GP they just gave me this this thing, E45. You know this E45 they give everybody.
Yes.
So they gave me E45.
Yes,
they said I should use E45 as a cream.
Yes.
The more I was rubbing it, the more the thing was itching.
The more it was coming out.
Okay.
I can imagine.
Then after a while, then I started having stretch mark on my body, and I was like, this is not something that because I know my body that well. You understand?
Yes.
So subsequently, I was at the mercy of NHS non-stop. For 1 year, nobody even suggested blood tests to me.
You see?
So it was one of the days I now got so irritated. Okay? And I went to see my GP as usual. At this time, they've not referred me to a consultant. So I got so irritated, and I think at the end of the day, they now said, okay. So I just like, my body is itching. They gave me one medication. I can't remember the name of the medication. In short, when they gave that to me, it was like my body was burning. You know when they put fire on someone's body?
Yes.
It was like my body was burning. So I then asked anyway, eventually they referred me to a dermatologist. The dermatologist they referred me to, that one gave me Avino oil, whatever nonsense. They should give me something. They said I should not be using soap.
Yeah.
I should be using that one to wash my body. And I'm an African.
To wash your body, yes.
We are very particular about the smell and stuff like that.
Yes, now.
So only for me to use, the more I was using it, it wasn't helping. Instead, it was not solving his problem. So one of the times, the dermatologist, it just so happened that the dermatologist that was attending, this was like 2.5 years down the line. So the dermatologist that was attending to me, it so happened that that dermatologist was not around. So I had a different dermatologist that particular day. And that was the beginning of a difference. So when I saw that the dermatologist is actually from Indonesia. So the moment I walked through the door, he said, I can see your name. You're Nigerian, right? I said, yes. And he said, do you know this red flower? I don't know how to describe. The flower is a red flower. So he now showed me the picture, and I was like, I can't remember what it is. So I said, you know what? I will take it back. I will take the picture back and show it. You understand? So, and I remembered I took it back home, showed it to my auntie. I sent it to one of my aunties. And she said, you can get it from all these women that sell herbal stuff, that they use it for eczema.
Can you see?
You understand? So the woman, my auntie now said, apart from even that okay. So but me, I was wary because already I was taking medication, so I was wary. Anyway,
yes.
No, it's not hibiscus flower. It's red flower, but it's not hibiscus. It's not the one for Zobo. It's a different. They use it for people that have eczema. Yeah. Anyway, I then had to see the dermatologist again. Luckily, again, it was this Indonesian guy. So I now said, yes, I know I now told him about the feedback of this, and he said, okay. So he said, do you know black soap? And I said, yes. I said, that black soap. I was just joking. I was like, that black soap that used to stain people's skin. He said, no. You see, as an African, that was when I realized that our skin pigments are different.
Totally.
I didn't understand that. When you're not at
physiology. Even our physiology, not just the skin. Physiology as well. Our makeup is completely different. Yeah, carry on. Let me not interrupt.
So for me, until you have that consent with the system, you don't really pay attention.
No, you don't. You don't really.
So
You
that was how
don't.
the lady.
You know?
So the guy now said,
Yeah.
go and get black soap, get shea butter,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
start using that. You don't need any Avino. You don't need any. Just go. So anyway, I go back home, and then
Yes.
I called this my auntie back in Nigeria. I said, I need black soap.
Yes.
That was when I got to know that
Yes.
there are even different type of black soap. Me, I didn't know.
Yes, there are.
So she
Yes,
now,
there are.
anyways, I told her
There
what
are.
was wrong. I showed her the pictures of my skin, and she said, flower pupa, they call it flower pupa, the red flower, whatever it is. He said that one and that particular black soap, the one that is made from the banana skin, from the plantain skin, that's what I need.
Okay.
Anyway, they
Okay.
sha brought it. When they sent it to me, my sister, I soaked myself. They said all I just need to do is just run a bath, put that flour,
Yes.
and then let it
Yes.
infuse with the black soap.
Yes.
I soaked myself. Do you know, for 3.5 years, for the first time, I slept okay.
You see? Can you see?
And then my skin started peeling. All the Avino
Yeah.
V45, everything I threw it away.
Yeah.
And that was the solution to
Yeah.
my problem.
You see?
I used to
You
sleep
see?
stark
So,
naked for 3.5 years because my body was burning.
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine, unless, like you said, unless you have been there and you've experienced these things, you can't really, you can't really talk about it. I think it's a topic for another day. But you see, this medical bias is a thing. It's actually a thing. Well, like I said, I think it's a topic for another day. So when I moved from the NHS to private, my consultant is an NHS consultant. All the private health consultants, they are all NHS consultants, but they just do this private thing as a side thing for themselves. Do you see what I mean? So that's like an additional source of income. So by the time I started treatment privately, now I could see the difference. You see, that pressure of being under a particular BMI, not true. Not true. It wasn't true. The NHS made because again, I'm taking this back to that fact that everything is tied to funding. So they try to streamline it so much so that they can afford to pay for it, because these treatments are not cheap. They are not cheap. They're not cheap at all. So anyway, I'll round up by saying, so I had my treatment on, privately, and I was blessed, to have my baby girl on the first treatment. Yeah, so I've got my one baby girl on via IVF. And it was private. But what I would round up to say is, as Dudu people, I think we need to inform ourselves, regardless of what the situation is. You see this surrogacy thing that you were talking about? We have to go and inform ourselves. We have to read about it. In fact, your show opened up. I didn't even realize that there was no law or legislation around it in Nigeria, because a lot of people are going home to go and do these things. I didn't realize there was no law or legislation around it. Until I heard you today.
Sis, for me, because I'm a social worker and I work in children and family, I got to know a lot around fertility, adoption, fostering, and surrogacy, particularly international laws. Because, when you are bringing a child, so like the adoption, for instance, when people adopt a child when they adopt a child from Nigeria, what they don't realize is the assessment of adoption in Nigeria is totally different from assessment of adoption here.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
So a lot of people, when they are bringing their kids to the UK, they adopt the children. But then in Nigeria, so like in the Nigerian law and most African laws, because I've done not just for Nigerians alone. So the main complexity we have is the law of adoption in African country does not compel the adopted parents, the adopted parents to have a relationship or attachment with the child being intended to adopt. The law does not allow them to does not compel them. Unlike the UK, where you must have that relationship with that child.
Yes.
Okay? So whether open,
Yes.
whether
Okay.
closed, whatever kind of adoption, you must
Yeah.
be meeting that child. You must be building that relationship with that. You must have contact time with the child. And all of these
With
things
the
will be
child.
documented. Then in the Nigerian
Oh.
system, they don't do memory
Yes.
box in the Nigerian system. There's no life story.
Oh, I
So
see.
the adoption, then the question when you are wanting to bring a child to the UK or most of the Western country is,
Yes.
where is the origin of that
Yes.
child? Because the African
Ah.
law, the African adoption system, which is tied to their family law and
Yes.
criminal law, does not welcome
Yes.
life story. So that child is almost like, and
I
that's why
see.
orphanage is more prevalent in Africa. So
In Africa. All
the
right.
easiest way to adopt a child in Africa is to go through the orphanage.
Yes.
And again, in the orphanage home,
I
you don't need to
see.
prove where that child came from. Okay?
Really?
Unlike
Oh,
unlike in the
wow.
Western country, that child came from somewhere.
Mm.
So where did that child come from?
Yes.
Where is the
Come
biological
from.
parent of that child?
Yes.
Because I tell you one
Yes.
interesting thing about orphanage in Africa. When a child
Mm.
comes into orphanage, whether the child is picked up or whatever it is, now there's the law in
Mm.
Africa does not mandate you, the orphanage company. I call them company because that's what they are, because they are registered as
Yeah,
companies,
yeah.
right? So
They
the
are.
laws in
Yes.
Africa does not mandate the orphanage company to identify the birth parents. Okay?
Okay.
So
Yes.
while it might
Yes.
look easy, okay, that's fine, right? But remember that child came from
Yes.
somewhere. So how do we know
Of
the
course.
genetic history of that child? How do we know the medical
Exactly.
history of that child? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now that child is
Mm-hmm.
growing. What are the trauma that child has been exposed to?
Encountered.
Maybe during
Yes.
pregnancy, maybe there was trauma during pregnancy,
Yes.
maybe there was trauma at the birth of
Yes.
that child, you know, or the trauma when before the child was born. What's the family history of this
Yes.
child? Okay, so but in
Yes.
Africa, they don't dig into all of that.
No, they
So
don't.
you present. So
They
what they tend to
don't.
do is the adoption is done through the system, but the adoption is just a case
Mm.
of you showing your intention to adopt. And then the moment you show your intention to adopt, they check your finances. Are you okay financially to adopt this
Mm.
child? They don't even bother
Yes.
themselves checking the home, whether the home is conducive for the child.
It's conducive for the
It's all
child.
about the finances. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember Madonna went and adopted. There was a time that all these celebrities in the
She
West
did.
were going to
She did.
Africa to
Madonna,
adopt.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Now, all of
yes.
those things now are more stringent because they are concerns about child exploitation. Okay,
Yes.
and with the modern
Yes,
day slavery
yes,
and modern day slavery law, that has made things very
yes.
stringent. Okay, because
I
the kids
see.
are coming from
Yes.
nowhere. Where are they coming from? Where is their origin?
Exactly.
Okay, then, and what we are
Exactly.
also noticing is like some of the children were adopted from Africa. Some of these kids are
Mm-hmm.
presenting with maybe sickle cell or whatever it is that they were presented. The adopted parents have no
Yes.
clue. Okay,
Obviously, because those checks were not carried out.
yeah.
Those checks weren't carried out, you know.
Also,
Yes, yes,
when you look
yes.
at adoption that are being done within families, because you can do adoption within family,
Mm,
okay?
mm-hmm,
Now, say I'm
mm-hmm.
adopting my sister's child or my brother's child. Now, when I'm doing
Yes.
those adoption, again, the African system does not when it's family to family adopting,
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
African law does not relinquish
mm-hmm.
the parental right and responsibility of the birth parent to the adopted parents.
You see.
So,
You
like in my own
see.
case, I'm a very practical example where I went to live with my
Yes.
auntie when my father died. Okay?
Yes.
Now, at the
Yes.
time, that was 81. At the time,
Mm-hmm,
what happened?
mm-hmm.
My mom would have gone to jail if it was now. Okay? Because one,
Yes.
I was born in the UK. My mom left me
Okay.
because at the time I was still within the child elder resource system. So my mom left me to an
Yes.
auntie. Now this auntie,
Yes.
although she's related to my mom, my auntie more or less exercise full parental right and responsibility, same side as my mom.
Yes.
Okay, but
Oh, okay.
legally,
Yes.
legally that shouldn't be the case. There is nothing to state, whether even in kinship care, there is nothing to state that my mom had
Yes.
full legal right and responsibility. And there was nothing to state how my auntie, because my auntie made decision about my nursery school, about my primary, about my secondary. She made decision about my health. She was making life-changing
Yes.
decisions about me. And my mom
Wow.
never relinquished
Wow.
her parental right and responsibility to my auntie. I don't know if you see where I'm
Right.
coming from.
I understand where you're coming from. I
Now,
imagine
the
because
UK
in your own
government,
case, the
the
dynamics would
UK
be
gov,
because it's family.
no, but the thing is,
They'll be
the
looking at
UK
it that it's
government,
family, so it wouldn't have to go through that, stringent and legal
no.
route.
But you see, as at 81, that was okay.
Yes.
Following then, because ideally, because I'm born in the UK system should have been
Yes.
informed of kinship care. They were not informed.
Okay.
So there's a whole
I
lot of criminal. If you put
see.
it, I mean, we're talking of 81. So if you put it side by side with what we have since 85, there is a lot of
Yes.
criminality that went on.
Wow.
You understand what I mean?
Wow. Yes.
Who do you hold
Yes.
accountable in the case where the child is
Exactly.
abused? Who do you hold accountable
Exactly.
where there's been medical negligence? Who do you hold accountable when,
Yes.
there's a whole lot. Like the things that
There
we look at
is.
now to assess, it would have been done differently. There was no
Mm,
memory box because it was just a case of my dad died. After the funeral, following some few months, my auntie came.
you're,
I started staying with my auntie.
you're with
Nobody
your auntie.
explained why I
Yes.
ended up with my auntie. I didn't get that explanation until I was 18.
Oh.
You understand? So
Oh.
look at it from the angle of the
Yes.
child. Put yourself in the shoes of the child. Now,
Oh, it's that's some level of trauma right there,
exactly. So
That
there's a
is some
whole
level of, because
lot.
of course the child is dealing with loss and then is dealing with change, because I can imagine the change that you had to experience transitioning from home as you knew it at the time to a
Exactly.
completely different environment. So that is trauma. That's
So,
trauma. There's a lot of learning for us. So we do people. We have a lot of learning,
yeah.
a lot of things to learn, a lot.
Because
A lot. I would.
We have Africans who are going to
Yeah,
Africa. We understand fertility is a very sensitive topic. But in the
it
midst of
is.
it,
It is.
as well, people are going to Africa to do IVF. Now, the IVF you're doing, what is the ethical guidance around it? Is when you look at it from the way it is done here in the UK to what was done in Africa,
Yes.
side by side, does it meet the
Yes.
ethical guidelines? There are a lot of
Yes.
questions there.
A lot.
Did they
A
do the normal
lot.
medical checks that are needed? You
I think
understand?
again, all of that boils down to the facility and the consultants that person is using. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's quite complex. It is quite complex. But then, if we don't have what's it called? If we don't have legislation in place,
There is no legislation.
that's
Because
the thing.
I remember even adoption. Do you know adoption ordinary in Nigeria? The way they do adoption in Lagos State is very different from what they do in Ogun State. There are even
You see?
there are some states in Nigeria that don't have adoption laws.
Really.
Oh yes. Because
So you just
I tell you
want
what,
to
as a
admit that
social
people
worker,
have.
in children and family, when we want to do
Yeah.
international adoption, it is always a place of fear or a place of huge caution. And our legal
Wow.
team are fully, there's a lot of back and forward with legal team. In short, just ordinary
No.
legal consultation, it takes roughly minimum of 2 years. Do you know, even in some African countries, they don't even keep record of childbirth.
No, they don't.
Because there are
They
some people that
don't.
have their babies at home. They don't keep records.
Yeah.
Then some people don't
Yeah.
even keep records of the child, like your red book. A lot of people don't. There are
Yes.
some countries that don't keep record of birth, of medical
Do you know,
engagement.
the this issue of adoption is only very recently that we actually started having these conversations amongst our circle, because I remember growing up, we had a family friend whose child was adopted. But this adoption thing for the longest time, it was like really hushed conversations. You can't open your mouth and say this child is adopted. You can't. Meanwhile, the scenario is different here. So I have a colleague who adopted a child, and in fact, it was her own that even opened my eye. It was open. There was no hushed anything about it. And in fact, when it was time for her to go on her maternity leave or whatever, it's some sort of leave that they give her.
Yeah, adoption leave. Yeah.
Adoption leave, thank you. So she went on the adoption leave. When she then came back and we were having a chat, I got to understand that the child that is being adopted has a legal right to know that they are adopted.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is in Nigeria. You pick this child and the child doesn't know anything. And everything is hushed. Even now, and I imagine that that's still the case. It's just that now I think we're becoming a bit more aware, and so even as Black people, we're feeling a bit more comfortable talking about adoption. It's still a hushed topic. Even IVF is still
You see, there's something, sis. It's like there's a particular.
Of all these things.
There's
hush, and this hush, we're paying for this ignorance dearly.
Do you know what, my sister? There's a popular pastor that himself and his wife and his late wife, they adopted. Okay? Now, they adopted these children, and the children are bearing, I don't know what name they bear before the adoption, but the children now have, they've even named those children culturally, and those children are using the surname of this pastor. Okay? Now, I want to assume that probably they've done it the Nigerian way, but I can tell you for free, if those children have to come abroad to come and school, that pastor will have to produce the previous name that those kids were before being adopted. Okay? Because there is no way that those two children suddenly started having the names. Because like in the UK, when you are an adopted parent, you want to change the name of a child, you've got to notify. You have to notify the local authority. It's not just a case of you just waking up one morning, I want to change the name of my child. There's a way. Even the passport, the first passport, when a child is adopted, if the child does not have a passport before adoption, the very first passport of that child, the local authority are the legal parent to authorize that adoption, to authorize that passport. Do you know that the birth certificate, so when a child is being adopted, the passport number, the code on the passport number tells you, you need to understand it for you to know that, because we can tell if that passport is a child that has been adopted, we can tell, but that's again for security purpose.
Yes.
You understand? Even surrogacy, we can tell, because there's a code. All this code has meaning. You understand? Again, it's all about safeguarding. Of course, if there's nothing to worry about, you will never notice. But when there's something to worry about, that thing flags up straight away.
Because what you're saying is resonating with me, because even when I was having my maternity care, all those it was during I had my baby during COVID, so even when I was going for my antenatal and the rest of it, I had to, at each antenatal appointment, mention the fact that it was an IVF pregnancy. I had to. So I imagine at some point, somewhere in my hospital file, with this code that you're talking about would be there. I imagine. I don't know, but I just imagine,
and it's all for safeguarding. It's nothing. It's not as if it's not like anybody is picking you out. Like you, because you've had your baby through IVF. Obviously, if you're going to have another pregnancy, or if you ever fall pregnant, these are records that would help flag you.
We are 50 next year.
Me say, next year I decline the golden ladder. I'm waiting. I am patiently waiting to climb it.
The golden age is next year, sister, I beg.
I am patiently waiting to climb that ladder. I can't wait. Let me come and enter the ladder of elders.
Yes, they say it's the new 20.
No be
So
small
yes,
something.
I can't wait. I know. But let me round up because I need to run. Let me
Yeah.
round up by saying, as Black people, we need to educate ourselves more. And then I also feel that, you see, all these topics that are in quotes taboo, I think we should just really start talking about these things. And that's why I listen to you a lot of the time. I've never called in. But I do listen to you.
Oh, thank
But
you.
yeah, we need to talk about these things. It's so important. IVF, surrogacy, adoption. It's not evil. There's nothing wrong with it. It is part of life. Sometimes you try, like myself. I didn't think I was going to need IVF, but then I found myself needing IVF. I was looking for information. I couldn't find information for Black people. I had to join groups on Facebook. And these groups on Facebook were run by Oyibo women, but that was where I was getting information from. Okay, look at menopause now. Some of us are hitting that menopause and stuff like that. Again, I am joining groups on Facebook, and these groups are run by Oyibo people because it is a taboo topic for us. When you ask somebody that I know is my age mate, I'll be like, my leg is paining me, my back. Are you sure it's not this sugar that you're drinking? Are you sure But for goodness sake, a lot of all these things are tied to menopause. But then again, it's not a conversation that we're willing to have. We just like to hide, and when we hide, we are paying for this ignorance dearly. We are. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Job, honestly. I wish I had the strength to do what you're doing. Because when I was doing this IVF thing, I was like, I should open a channel and educate people. Because
it's worth it if you can.
I felt so alone.
Yeah.
I felt so alone at the time. My dear sister, this your work is not easy, and you're combining it with work. This
I'm telling
YouTube,
you.
social medium of a thing. It's not easy. So I applaud you. I really do applaud you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much.
Here listening and giving you your flowers online. Don't worry. That's next year. I go find way to send flower to you.
No be small something. I don't collect 2 rose flower this morning.
Very good, my sister. Well done.
Thank
well
you.
Done.
Thank you.
Run now.
Have a lovely day. Yeah, bye. Bye. Yes, guys, honestly, there are some conversations we need to open. I will come and talk about adoption when I'm less busy. I have to. I'm being honest. Not be now. I will come and talk about adoption when I'm less busy. But honestly, there's a lot of stuff that our people we need to learn. Even cancer. There are a lot of stuff for us as Africans. Oh, sorry, she's left. There are a lot of stuff that we all need to learn, and the flour they were talking about, now flour, they call them flour pupa. So I just soaked it in the bath. I put it in the bath, I allow it to infuse, and then I put my black soap in it, and and I just soaked myself in the bath, just like a normal bathing. And just like normal, you put yourself in the bath. That's what it is. You say I should leave my 50th birthday for waiting for UK. I know they do party. I know Sabi do party. Sorry, I don't know how to do party. My 50th birthday, in short, on the 5th floor, I am going to a country I've always wanted to go to. It's always been on my bucket list, but for one reason or the other, I've never really bothered doing it. Next year, I'm going to Japan. My kids and I were going to, what's the name? My kids and I are going, they're taking me to a place. We're all going to a place that I've always wanted to go. Like I said, me, I'm not really a celebration kind of person. But next year, definitely, Japan is on my, in short, that Japan, see Japan, I don't see Japan. Thailand does not interest me, funny enough. That Thailand doesn't interest me at all. I don't know. It doesn't, in short, it's never even been something that I've ever thought about. It doesn't interest me. I don't know why, it just doesn't interest me. You want to see picture of flower, see, you see as how my body do you. You want to see picture of my flower, no worry about that more. No, not next year. Bali is definitely, I don't know, I would think about it. I joined I'm on a travel group on Facebook and Instagram. I've been there for, I don't know, when did my friend, it was my friend that actually introduced me to the travel group. I think that's, whether she said in 2017, I've been at 2016, I can't even remember. I've been on that travel group, and we just, it's like women who love solo travel, but then sometimes they do like group travel. But I've never joined them because I don't know, like I don't like traveling with people I don't know. But there's meant to be there's a sailing whatever in September. I'm still thinking, do I want to go? Do I not want to go? I'm still trying to make up my mind about it. They're supposed to be sailing to Croatia. We're supposed to be sailing from Croatia. We're sailing for 7 days. I don't know yet. A part of me is saying yes, a part of me is still saying no. I'm still caught up in between it. But the dear devil in me wants to do it. The dear devil in me wants to do it because I'll be sea diving. So the dear devil in me wants to do it. Whether I want to do it now, I never know. But anyway, I'm sure thinking about it. But I need to give them an answer by the end of next week. So that is where I stand on that one. But Thailand, Bami, that Thailand, I don't know, like there's just something I don't know, like Thailand just does not I don't know why it doesn't interest me. I don't know why Thailand doesn't interest me. I don't know why Thailand doesn't interest me. Bali, definitely. Maldives, I would say, I actually want to come to Netherlands. Netherlands is something I'm thinking of. It's a country I was thinking of. Is it Northern Light or something that they call it? I'm thinking of coming to Netherlands, but I don't even know. Anyway, I have some countries on my bucket list that I really want to. That I want to do, and I'm just thinking, should I not? Should I not? But then I'm that kind of person. Maybe last minute just come and make up my mind. That's my kind of person. So I don't even stress myself because sometimes I will say this is what I want to do, and then again I kind of come off it. So and my son gets to that big 3-0 this year. So it's not rice and beans with assorted. All of us, we are going. What's her name? Dorcas, we are coming to Netherlands. See us in Netherlands. We will come and invade Netherlands. We will come and do one day in Netherlands. Anyway, it can be viewed as Scotland. I don't know. To be honest, I've never. I dey see Norwegian waiting for there. No. Travel is definitely my happy place. How I do it is what I don't know yet, but I'm still trying. Or I might just go on Groupon. My voice is quite husky, but I'm a female. My voice is husky, but I can tell you for free, I'm a female. The last time I checked, I'm a female. Yeah. So, like I said, please, these are conversations that we really need to get going, and these are conversations we need to get going. Let's everything about us Africans should not just be about there's money. Let's talk about those very important conversations. You never can tell who is at the receiving end of all of this. It doesn't concern me. Now I carry all of us reach where we did. Now the last time where I check, tell me what you say make I talk. You say my voice be like a man. Now I say the last time where I check, Abi. The last time where I check, I be woman. The last time where I check, I be woman. Abi, wetin make I talk? You want to know what I shake? Leave that one for where it is. So everybody, thanks so much, and I will see you all later. Let me go and catch up with family. They don't call my phone tired. Make I go catch up. I get they won't call me for inside family meeting level. So let me go and deal with let me go and respond to my family, and then I've got a trip to make. I shall be back at some point. What time I don't know, but I shall be back. Anyway, see you all later. Take care and have a wonderful, wonderful day ahead. And thank you all for all the birthday wishes. We shall enjoy. And if we see someone thief, I go let you know. Now here we go dey. We will go know. Anyway, take care everybody and have a wonderful day. Bye.